his emotion on the sidelines, and he is a proven winner. So far, so good. Marshall unbeaten in 2 games.
Calgary's Matt Dunnigan is 1-1 after a win in week 1, a setback in week 2, but there is progress in Calgary, and Dunnigan's approach is also a welcome addition on the CFL sidelines. And to add to the story, the rookie head coaches were teammates 20 years ago when they played for a championship team in Edmonton. Jamie Borum will get his first opportunity, and McGarity drops deep for the Calgary Stampeders to get it underway. Ticats won the toss and will defer their selection.
Calgary, of course, trying to bounce back from a setback a week ago versus the Montreal Alouettes, and Hamilton Tiger Cats rolling along to start the season at 2-0 under Greg Marshall.
A reverse Chinook, I think you've got it right, because it has been chilly since we arrived in Calgary yesterday. I'm sure things will be very sunny by the time the Stampede rolls around on Friday. It's underway at McMahon. 2 deep for the Stampeders. McGarity caught by the shoelaces and dropped at the 20-yard line. Marcus Crandall was the Grey Cup MVP in 2001. Since then, he has battled to hang on to a starting job. That will continue today. Albert Connell was around for 4 games last year. He is Calgary's leading receiver, over 200 yards in 2 games. And up front, a veteran group led by Jamie Crysdale, who plays in his 190th consecutive game as a Stampeder. That's quite a run.
First and 10, Stampeders at their own 20. The starting quarterback,
Marcus Crandall pulled out of the game at the halfway point versus Montreal, but was told right afterwards he'd start in this one this afternoon.
And Crandall one-hopped his first pass of the afternoon at the 21-yard line.
Well, Joe Mumford for the Hamilton front 7 is back in form. 3 sacks to start the season. He'll be all that the Calgary offensive line can handle here this afternoon. And in the secondary, Rodney Heath, the rookie newcomer on the corner, has in 2 games had to play 2 positions, halfback and corner. And remember, he's a rookie, played very well to start the season.
Today's starting lineups brought to you by Tums. Tums tackles heartburn fast. 2nd and 10, Stampeders still at the 20. 3 receivers near side, and Calgary will throw an awful lot this afternoon. If the first 2 games are any indication, Crandall missed McGarity by a bunch there.
Well, this is what Matt Dunnigan did with Marcus Crandall when he pulled him out of the game. He said at halftime he didn't see in his eyes that he was seeing the field. He didn't have the focus that was necessary. Put Tommy Jones in the game, and then right afterwards, John Jenkins, offensive coordinator, sat down with Marcus Crandall along with the head coach Matt Dunnigan and said, hey, there will be no controversy. You are the starter. We need you to lead this team. But Crandall needs a good game, or that could change.
Charlie Hebert took a little too long making up his mind there as to when he wanted the ball.
Calgary
Stampeders
Stampeders,
short.
John, their special teams have been a highlight in 2 weeks. And that is one area of the game that they have excelled at. Trey Junkins, the special teams coach, former roommate of Matt Dunnigan back in college, is Mr. Intensity on that sidelines, and he has this special team unit on full speed.
Robbie, I got 5 more in here though.
Not deep. Yeast may not get a play on this one. Now he comes up and draws the flag. So look where the Tiger Cats will begin, at the 45-yard line of the Stampeders, a 32-yard punt. So Danny McManus is back. He leads all quarterbacks in passing and touchdowns with 7 tossed in 2 games. Ticats leading receiver Demetrius Breedlove averaging better than 100 yards a game. And up front, veteran Carl Coulter leads an offensive line that has allowed a league-low 1 sack in 2 games. All in all, life is pretty fine in Hamilton all of a sudden.
Well, how about this? Danny McManus averaging 500 yards passing, 525 last week versus Winnipeg. That is a career best for Danny McManus, a guy for 8 seasons has thrown over 4,000 yards.
Like the Stampeders, the Ticats do not run the ball very frequently.
Defensively for the Calgary Stampeders, Brian Clark in that linebacking core playing on a tender ankle. Didn't take all the reps in practice this week, but is good to go. He'd have to lose the leg to keep him out of the game, I'm sure. Joey Bose is playing tremendous to start the season. 18 tackles, #1 in the CFL. He has a bunch of knockdowns to go with that. So Brian Clark, the Warrior, leading by example, playing on a tender ankle.
Gain of 1 yard, 2nd and 9. McManus puts it up, looking deep. He's looking for Amerson. He's got him. Touchdown, Ticats. No flags anywhere.
Oh,
McManus's first pass of the afternoon goes for 6.
Unbelievable. It just continues for Danny McManus and this Hamilton Tiger Cat offense. Another big play. This is a team that is offensively going to send receivers vertical on almost every single offensive play. So McManus has the option to go down the field, and he's used that option a bunch to start this season. Nice catch by Amerson. He has to stretch out to pull in the touchdown.
Second touchdown of the season for Archie Amerson. The 8th touchdown toss for Danny McManus, and that covered 40 yards. Ticats open quickly. Beginning with outstanding field position, Danny Mack and Archie A. hooking up for the game's first score. Tough start for the Stampeders. Amerson has his 2nd touchdown reception of the season, and the Tiger Cats score on their first possession, making it 7-0 here at McMahon. Stamps need a big return, something positive out of this. And not much running room at all for McGarity. Flags are down as Marcus Spencer makes the tackle. The return limited to 16.
Calgary Stampeders tried to go with some blitz, and they left the defensive backs in man-to-man coverage on the against the Hamilton Tiger Cats offensively. When Danny McManus sees man-to-man, he sees that Archie Amerson in behind Milo Lewis by a couple of steps. Here's the pressure. See Brian Clark coming up along with George White off the end, but they're picked up nicely right here at the top by Wayne Smith. Another rookie in the lineup for Hamilton, but Wayne Smith buys Danny McManus just enough time so he can get that football out to a wide open Archie Amerson.
Wayne Smith, the #1 draft pick in the Canadian Football League this year. The penalty was against the Stampeders, so again they'll start deep in their own zone. This possession begins at the 15-yard line. And the running room is not easily attained when Joe Montford is there and waiting. Victor Ike is the Stampeders' featured running back, and 42 yards in total offense along the ground is all the Stampeders have mustered in 2 games.
And it's not going to be any easier this afternoon when you have to face a defensive line like the Ticats have, led of course by Montford, who we talked about in the starting lineups. Tim Cheatwood, the bookend with Montford. But in the middle, they're tough as well with Belly and Scott.
Victor Ike has carried the ball 5 times now, Glenn, and he has gained just 1 yard. There was no gain there, and that's on the season. And there's no catch there, or is there? Did it roll over and into his hands? It came loose. Ticats say no catch.
Well, they're discussing it. Nicholas Lewis came on the out, and it looked like he was fumbling with it and then fell on his back. Well, it looked like it might have bounced there as he tried to.
But then it doesn't hit the ground again after he kicks it up a little bit.
And they're going to rule it a catch because they're bringing the chains on to measure to see if he had enough for the first down.
Take another look. I thought it scooted just off the ground before it got there, but once he got his hands under the ball, it rolled off his chest and he maintained possession.
Well, that's the question as to whether or not the hands were under or did the ball actually touch the ground as it came around. We'll take one more look. Here it comes right now. Ball. Well, that looked like it bounced. That looked like it bounced to him. Of course, we have the.
It was a bounce.
We have the luxury of the replay. The officials, we're not that far along in technology where they can carry around a little TV and take a look and then make the right ruling. But that one did look like it took one hop. But the Calgary Stampeders will have to punt anyway because they're held short of the first down.
Not a huge issue as it stands right now.
Okay, we got 4 and 30 then.
Charlie Hebert is in, standing back at his 10-yard line. His first punt did not travel very far at all. And that set up the Tiger Cats with great field position. From there, they went in to score.
Whoa.
Snap is high. Better kick. Craig Yeast. And a couple on the return, but a penalty marker comes down. Danny McManus, perfect so far in passing this afternoon. For the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Danny McManus's receivers averaging 23.5 yards per catch on the season so far.
What a turnaround from a year ago for the Ticat offense. Big reason for it is receivers that can flat out get down the field and get open.
Like this guy, Demetrius Breedlove. Flank to the far side of the field. 3 receivers to Danny McManus's right. Pressure from behind. He threw into the middle. And Amerson was well covered.
The difference a year makes for this offense for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Last season, it's a team that averaged 15 points a game. 32 after 2 games this year.
More than double
in passing yards and net yards, basically. And you mentioned average gain per pass. Well, that's up as well. 7 touchdown passes already for Danny McManus, and he had 9 all of last year. Jamie Barisi is the offensive coordinator and has done a very nice job in 2 weeks.
2nd and 10, Tiger Cats. McManus over the middle behind his target. Gets a reception anyway. And Grace was there to make the tackle on Troy Davis.
John Grace, defensive player of the week versus Montreal in a losing effort. He had an interception, 82 yards. Number 7 right here in the middle of your screen, and he takes a nice little drop. Watch how quickly he closes on that football as he sees Davis come across the middle. The job of the linebackers, drop back into coverage to help out with the deeper routes and then be ready to jump up and make the tackle in the open field. And Grace just realized he wasn't on the field goal return team.
Got off
in a hurry.
Just in time. Jamie Borum in the preseason hit on 2 of 3. He was injured, and this is his first real action in the CFL, and he nails his very first. It was a line drive, not the prettiest of all, Glenn.
Under the category of ugly but effective.
Ugly but effective. It's 10-0 Ticat. Field goal by rookie Jamie Borum on his first try in real CFL action makes it 10-0 for the Tiger Cats. Things have gone extremely well for Greg Marshall. First down, and Ike dropped it. Things have not gone quite as well offensively for the Calgary Stampeders.
Well,
looking back to last week and the beginning of this one.
Well, that's right, and they've had to make quarterback changes. Of course, John Jenkins, the offensive coordinator, believes in the pass 99% of the time. The downside of that is that the defense also understands that, and they'll get some pressure up front, especially from this Hamilton front 4. But important series here for Calgary just to get a couple of first downs and some field position back.
They've handed it to the Tiger Cats in great field position on Hamilton's first 2 possessions. This will help. Juhas gets about 5. He'll be short of the first down, obviously. Mike Juhas wrapped up by Cox.
You know, I talked about the secondary with Greg Marshall and how that they have 4 rookies back there in the secondary of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Bernard Cox, one of them, who just made the tackle on that last play, and asked him why, out of all the teams that have rookies in their secondary, and that includes most of them in the CFL this year, why his is playing so well. And he says, well, as you know, it goes as the front 4 goes, and we've got a good pass rush. That gives our DBs a huge head start on a lot of teams.
And for the Tiger Cats, they forced the Stampeders to 2 and out 3 times in a row already. Another punting situation here. Bear rolls it out. It was a little ugly too. A 25-yard punt, and the Ticats still with decent field position. Danny McManus and the Tiger Cats begin at the 45, 3rd possession. They've scored on the first 2, and Davis, 7, maybe 8 yards for Troy Davis.
Well, Danny McManus has had the luxury of great field position to start this game. 3 series now for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and Greg Marshall's group has started on the Calgary 41, the Calgary 47, and now their own 45-yard line. Super field position for Danny McManus, and he now has 10 points to show for it with the drive pending here.
And the Stampeders, conversely, have had horrible field position on their first 3 possessions. There was an infraction here.
Great comeback stories of the year already is Danny McManus. You consider last season 28-69 in passing. Remember, he was injured in the preseason, really only played half the season. I mean, he got back earlier than that, but was not 100% healthy until after Labor Day. And this year, that's a great start.
9 touchdowns all of last season tossed by Danny Mac, and 8
well, they just
so far. Now they're marching off more against the Tiger Cats here. There was a procedure call, and now McManus doesn't have great field position. And he's looking at a long first down situation. First and 25, back at the 30.
There's an intense head coach unhappy with the penalties there.
McManus stands in, far side, got it away.
And that's
Tunkara making the catch over there.
well, yeah, Tunkara makes a nice catch on the outside as the Calgary Stampeders gamble in the zone defense. Wes Lysak is going to drop back to the middle. That shows that it's zone. He's got the middle third. See the linebackers underneath Clark and Grace. Now Milo Lewis gambles to go for the football. But Danny McManus, if he sees zone and has this kind of time, oh, it's going to be a long afternoon for the guys in red.
Gets almost half of it back. McManus looking to the near side this time. Same target, jump ball. And Tunkara comes up with another one. Back-to-back catches by Tunkara. And William Fields was with him stride for stride, but somehow Tunkara won the jump.
Well, that's what it is, John. He just won the battle when the ball arrived. I mean, you could be in perfect position, and when they watch the film tomorrow, they'll say to William Fields, hey, you know what? That's an attaboy for your position, but now you got to win the battle. And Tunkara rips it out of his hands and makes a nice catch. It's amazing what a confident team can do. I mean, confidence can be the difference between winning and losing.
First 18 yards and then 36 on this one. Tiger Cats were looking at first and 25 just seconds ago. Davis again, and 2 pretty good runs for Davis. He hasn't been used a great deal so far this season. Just 55 yards rushing for Davis coming into this one, and that'll be another 10 added to his total.
Both teams are trying to involve their running game a little bit more. I mean, we talked about Calgary not running at all. Greg Marshall would like to see a little bit more run. Of course, Marshall was a former running back, and you know, when you can throw for 500, you really don't have to run. But
look at Davis from last year. Those are great numbers for a guy who was on a team that won only 1 game in 18 tries.
And that's, you know, when you have Troy Davis back there, that's why you want to involve it. 25 yards per game in the first 2 running. That's 8th in the CFL for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Both would like to establish a little bit more, but they're not going to beat their heads against the wall. Both say, if we can throw for 500 yards and win a game, then we don't need a running back.
And Davis also had 6 catches last week for 56 yards, so he has been used and effectively by the Tiger Cats. This will be 2nd and inches. And Davis has it easily. George White was there to meet him.
Well, this Calgary Stampeder defense is reeling a little bit early in this game, and that throw from Danny McManus to Archie Amerson has put a normally aggressive defense, at least in the first 2 weeks, what we've seen aggressive defense, on its heels. And that's where you look to your veterans like a Brian Clark and George White, and up front maybe a Joe Fleming, and say, guys, hey, there's lots of football, but we got to start attacking like we have in the first 2 weeks. Danny Crean, defensive coordinator, will be talking to them on the sideline.
They need it back in a hurry. McManus on target again. He may get the touchdown again, and Morielli is into the end zone. Mike Morielli made big catches for the Tiger Cats last week.
And Danny McManus has now thrown for as many touchdown passes as he had all of last season. And that is in 9 quarters. Not even 9 quarters.
Hard to believe the turnaround in this Tiger Cat football team from a year ago, when it took 13 weeks to win game number 1. Couple of touchdowns on the board. Danny McManus tosses to Mike Morreale for the latest one. Earlier, it was Amerson.
Nice game plan early for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They recognize the blitz from Calgary. John Gray's coming up the middle, and when you send linebackers, now the vacated area is right behind that line. That's where Morreale ends up. Picks up the football and then does the rest with his legs to dive into the end zone.
Morreale having a great start to a second career as a Hamilton Tiger Cat, and has his first touchdown of the season. Last year it took a while to get 4 with the Argonauts. Stampeders dearly in need of a big return here. McGarity, and not much, out to about the 35. Down at the Stampeder bench, here's Jermaine Franklin.
Thanks, guys. The Stampeders have just attempted to rush the ball 16 times for a total of 42 yards in the first 2 games, with just 2 rushing touchdowns, the worst in the league, and even bad for a pass-happy offense like the Stampeders. Matt Dunnigan was the first to recognize that, and he said that we'd see the run a few more times in today's game. I assume it'll be tough being down 17-0.
Well, they won't be able to run very frequently. 1 carry so far this afternoon, Jermaine, and 0 yards the result of that. So here's Crandall looking to a target on the far side, and the coverage on McGarity was just a little bit too tight one more time.
Yeah, Jermaine makes a very good point, John, at the end of that, and that is that down this much this early, you can almost scrap the running game. I mean, you want to try and stay with it occasionally, but Marcus Crandall has got to start throwing the football, get some field position back, and a little bit of momentum, and maybe just a hint of confidence for his team, because they have none right now offensively.
Down 17-0. The Tiger Cats have scored at will. Second and 10, and the running game stopped again. That's Tim Cheatwood wrapping up Ike. Victor Ike, and maybe a yard is the only advantage that Calgary got out of that.
Well, what's unique about the bookends for the Hamilton Tiger Cats is their quickness outside. I mean, these are run stoppers that play defensive end, Tim Cheatwood and Joe Montford. They're pure pass rushers first, but they can stop the run because of their quickness. You see how quickly they can commit to the run and still have the ability, if Marcus Crandall happens to go play action or fake it, to get back to their outside containment positions. That's the luxury they have with those 2 at the defensive ends.
Number 5, East to beat that again for the Cats.
Charlie Hebert. Not deep. Craig East bobbled it, but draws a flag at the 35-yard line.
Can't find the handle, but Calgary 2 more.
40-yard punts with a little bit of a roll there, and no return for Craig East. So the Tiger Cats get it right back.
No yards. Calgary, number 36, first down.
A couple of rookie head coaches in this one today. Matt Dunnigan and Greg Marshall were teammates back with the Eskimos in '84. Matt?
First of all, food, not Greg Marshall's food. That's what we called him in Edmonton, because he ate so damn much. But food, he's a tremendous guy, you know, and I know that the city of Hamilton is continually reaping the rewards and seeing what a great hire it was to get him and put him in charge of that football team. And to watch him experience the success that I know he deserves because he works hard at it, it's been tremendous.
Food, and part of the story was that Marshall got to Edmonton and he had several knee surgeries, but when he got there he was injured and early in training camp, and there wasn't much for him to do
Except eat.
except eat.
Well, apparently he got up to about 270. Wow.
McManus on the money again. Morielli makes the catch again.
What's interesting, though, because, you know, going to both press conferences, they were back-to-back yesterday afternoon. Greg Marshall and Matt Dunnigan, and a refreshing change in a lot of ways to go in and have two young, enthusiastic coaches, football guys, true and true, but presenting their teams so professionally in the press conferences, showing the respect between each other, but refreshing to see these young faces out there in the coaching ranks.
Definitely so. Gain of 16 for Morielli, and the Ticats keep it on the ground right after that. Troy Davis gets another call, and John Grace makes another tackle.
So Food right now is up by 1 win on his former teammate. 83-84 in Edmonton was the time when they played together, Matt Dunnigan and Greg Marshall.
And that was a Grey Cup year for the Eskimos, and Marshall celebrated one of those. One of the things the Eskimos did to Marshall in that era is they put a small fridge in his locker one day and filled it full of stuff when he came to practice.
Well, he's slim and trim now, and as intense as they come down there on that sideline.
Craig East eluding the first tackle and forced out of bounds after grabbing a couple of extra yards by William Fields.
Another great story, Craig East.
Second in the CFL in receiving coming into this one.
Well, yeah, 7 for 232, 3 touchdowns coming into this game. And, you know, in game 1, he had 91 yards, almost 100 there. Last week, 4 catches, 141. Look at that average, 35.3 on every catch, and his long as the 69-yarder. He had a couple touchdowns versus the Bombers. Want to involve them a bunch in the offense. They already are, and he's showing that it's a good decision.
Flag is down on this punt by the Tiger Cats. Jason Curry has it down inside the 20. And Beveridge leading the tacklers there. Phil Mickelson, Vijay Singh, John Daly are the headliners tomorrow from the club the Fontainebleau near Montreal to compete in one of Canada's most prestigious television friendlies, the TELUS Skins game, tomorrow 1:30 Eastern on TSN, 10:30 a.m. Pacific.
Well, the Calgary Stampeders are playing golf right now. It's time to pull out the big stick, the driver, and grip it and rip it.
I think you're right. They've got a penalty coming up here, and yards being marched off again. And they're inside the 10-yard line this time. They have had horrific field position.
Well, and the only way they're really going to be able to get out of it is they put some first downs together, because if it's 2 and out and punt, the Hamilton Tiger Cats will play in their end of the field this entire game.
Marcus Crandall buys a little time, and he missed a target open on the far side. Albert Connell, Stampeders' leading receiver.
Crowd becoming very impatient with Marcus Crandall and this football team as he looks to the sideline for the next call. I mentioned earlier how Matt Dunnigan handled the benching of Marcus Crandall at halftime last week, and what he did. If there's anyone who knows what a quarterback needs to hear, it's Matt Dunnigan, who of course played the position his entire career and one of the best in the business at it. And he told me before the game he was pulled about 7-8 times in his career, so he knows how it feels.
He remembers every one of them, I'm sure. Here's Crandall on second down, has a target, but he'll be well short of a first down on the connection there with Danny Montana.
With Marcus Crandall, it just looks to me to be a bit of a confidence issue right now for him. I thought he had Nicholas Lewis open right around the first down marker. Lewis was the second pattern. It was really 2 layers there. Crandall threw the short one, and the deep pattern was open to Nicholas Lewis, but it was a tougher throw, and it had to go over a linebacker. Crandall looked at him briefly and then went down to the checkoff man underneath, and that's just a confidence issue.
Glenn, that's 5 2-and-outs for the Stampeders. Goose egg on the board, but they haven't made it out across their 25-yard line.
And see Lewis go right back to Crandall there, and he'll talk to him in the house, say, hey man, just go ahead and let it go, because I was there.
As a result, on third down, Charlie Hebert stands in the Stampeder end zone. Down 17-0.
Not much of a wind in his face, but he's deep enough that you think about possibly giving up more points here to try and get field position, because with Craig East at the other end.
Yeah, he's standing near the 45. That's Calgary's 45-yard line.
That's almost field goal range already. Now he's got to.
Well, now
No
that
choice.
wasn't part of the plan, or at least that wasn't the way it was supposed to happen if in fact they had decided to give up a couple.
Yeah. Decision made for them on the bad snap. Trey Junkin, the special teams coordinator for this Calgary Stampeder team, has had their team playing well in that area for 2 games. But
yeah, but special teams have hurt the Stampeders a great deal today because they've had no returns at all.
well, yeah, and in fairness, Hebert has been standing on his goal line for the most part, punting so far today, and that's not easy. But a couple of high snaps. That one didn't cost them too badly, because that was in the position where you consider giving up 2 anyway for the field position advantage. But this hole is becoming deeper and deeper for the Calgary Stampeders at 19-0 this early.
33 seconds to go in the opening quarter, and nothing has gone right for Matt Dunnigan's team so far today. Conversely, the Tiger Cats have been sailing along rather nicely.
They ever. You know, a combination of things. We've talked a lot about the receiving corps, but how about this offensive line for the Hamilton Tiger Cats? And maybe the leader of that group, the biggest comeback story in the Ticats this season. Because a lot of people in this league felt that number 51, his best days were behind him.
That's Carl Coulter we're talking about. East is deep. Here's the Stampeder kickoff. Bouncing near the 25. Craig Yeast escapes the first wave. Room to the outside. Turns the corner. He's at midfield and forced outs at about the 50-yard line. Again, the Tiger Cats will have field position as a penalty marker comes down after the play. A 33-yard return. 7 of 9, 133 yards for Danny McManus. 525 yards tossed last week, which was a personal best in the victory over the Blue Bombers.
When you look at how that offensive line has protected Danny McManus for the last 6 seasons, 1999, no coincidence, they only gave up 7 sacks, won the Grey Cup that year. Yeah.
And then you go squirting all the way up to 2003, and that's part of the reason that the Stampeders couldn't get some more victories.
Well, here's the more good news for the Hamilton fans. This year, sacks allowed in 2 games and a quarter, 1, which is number 1 in the Canadian Football League.
17 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Another bit of yardage marched off against the Stampeders. And here's McManus. First down at the 45, and the play whistled down.
Talked about Mike Morreale and how Danny McManus and Mike Morreale are hooking up a little bit for first downs, and Morreale's yardage may not be as impressive as Yeast and Breedlove, but Morreale's making those key first down catches like he did a few years back when he was a Hamilton Tiger Cat.
17 seconds, please.
And one of the reasons for that was that Morreale in the offseason this year worked closely with Danny McManus in an indoor facility, throwing the football. And it was actually Danny McManus who went to the coaching staff and Greg Marshall and said, listen, if there's a chance that we could get Mike Morreale back here, it would be beneficial to our football team. So the quarterback, and I'm thinking, if I'm a receiver in the offseason, I'm finding out where the quarterback's going to spend his offseason. I'm moving there. Just hang out by his house and say, hey, if you just want to throw it around the street, I'm here for you.
Morreale has been steady. He's found some open spots, and a couple of catches last week were in critical situations. Not exactly long plays, but first down plays for Morreale, and of course he has the touchdown here this afternoon. Last play, opening quarter. Danny McManus, time to throw, looks deep, far side. He's got him. He's got another touchdown. DJ Flick into the end zone for another Ticat touchdown. That's his 3rd on the season, and another huge play by this Tiger Cat offense.
Well, it starts up front. I mean, Danny McManus had blitz coming. Watch Brian Clark there's Lysak, the safety on the play. He's coming up, and he has but watch protection. Clark and Lysak get caught in the mix. Offensive line do a nice job. Danny McManus has the time now to let DJ Flick get down and in behind William Fields, who's having some problems here this afternoon, for another touchdown, another big play for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
40-yarder to Archie Amerson, a 45-yarder there to DJ Flick. Converted easily by the rookie kicker for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Jamie Borum. And look at the scoreboard after quarter one. Hamilton on top, 25-0.
At the quarter, brought to you by Reebok, the only brand that hangs in every CFL locker.
Woo! You know, we knew there would come a day when we were going to have to get on Matt Dunnigan and the Calgary Stampeders. Forget it. Let's talk about Hamilton. They're up 26-0. Danny McManus now has 10 touchdown passes on the season. He had 9 all of last season. That great story continues. So let's talk about how he's doing it. You're going to break down the first touchdown.
Yeah, a little chalk talk here and show them how they got that first touchdown. Calgary's going with the all-out blitz like a lot of teams are. You'd bring one more, the other team can defend, but you have to do it properly, and they don't do it properly. Okay, here you're going to see Brian Clark. He's going to wheel around here on a stunt and come off the edge. And we're also going to see George White. He's going to come off the edge as well. And then what you're going to see is unusual. You see the guard's going to kick out here and form a little wall for Danny McManus. And as we roll it forward, you're going to see what this creates. Danny McManus, first of all, hangs in the pocket, and here you see what you don't want to see for Calgary. 2 guys getting blocked by 1. And what does that mean? Well, that means that poor old Milo Lewis, who's playing defensive back, is being asked to cover Amerson for way too long. I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to cover a guy like Amerson for any length of time with no safety help, Schultze. No, and you have to get to the quarterback quickly, and if you don't, it's lights out.
No, the 2 players absolutely eliminated themselves, and I think what also Hamilton has done is they're eliminating the pass rush, and it's not just the offensive line. Watch Troy Davis on this play. He's going to go one-on-one with the defensive end, Antoine Young. Just watch as he slides to his right, the offensive line slides to left. Bang! That's Antoine Young. He's 6'3", 290 pounds. Troy Davis stones him in the pass protection. Now look at Coach Marshall. He's talking to Wayne Smith, the rookie, Carl Coulter. He's going to talk to Jonta, the number 69. Right now, this is a great pass protection team. Greg Marshall, by trade, is a pass protection specialist. So this works out very well. If you give McManus time, he's going to make some plays, and that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, he certainly is. And the offensive struggles continue for Calgary, but Dunnigan, as Glenn Suter has pointed out, told us also that he's going to stick with Crandall because he's got to, and he believes in him, and they've got to put him in better positions to succeed.
So technically, the first quarter is not over as far as the Tiger Cats and Stampeders are concerned. There was a penalty, so they re-kicked the convert here.
Yeah, you can't end the quarter on a penalty, so they sort of ended it, then they realized there was a penalty, then restarted it. This is what happened when they restarted it, just for the convert. Problem with the snap, Borum tried to run it in, didn't get there, so the score is 25 for the Ticats, 0 for the Stamps.
And that is the only thing that has gone wrong for the Hamilton Tiger Cats so far this afternoon at McMahon Stadium.
Yeah. 200 net yards to 8 for the Calgary Stampeders. And yes, Matt Dunnigan told us he would stay with Marcus Crandall, but if 0 first downs continue much longer, I'm sure the head coach will make a change at the quarterback position.
8 net yards, and you're down by 25 points, and you haven't turned the ball over yet. You haven't given up the big play that way.
It's just been total dominance in the field position advantage for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I mean, they have played in Calgary's end of the field. Matt Dunnigan talking to Denny Crean, the defensive coordinator, to try and get a little more bounce out of the step of his defenders to create some turnovers to maybe give some momentum to the offense.
And that is the strength of the Stampeder team as you look at it, with a quarterback who has struggled in a couple of games so far. Defense with the guys they've got on that side of the ball, Joe Fleming, Nepestuk, Brian Clark, John Grace. Big time players. Here are the Stampeders looking for the first huge return of the afternoon. Will McGarity give it to him? Well, that's a good beginning for the Stampeders out at the 45-yard line. That will be the best field position Calgary has had all afternoon on a 30-yard return.
Yeah, John, you mentioned that Calgary defense. They're trying to get some pressure. Good protection once more. That's full blitz from Calgary. And Danny McManus has lots of time, and William Fields gets caught way inside looking back at the quarterback. Watch the protection up at the top here. I mean, this is Carl Coulter up there with Tim Baker and John Woodard. He's on the outside, number 69. He keeps Fleming wide. Fleming can't get there till way too late.
Marcus Crandall complete near the 50, but a flag goes down in the Stampeder backfield, and it may be going against the Tiger Cats. Cheatwood was in the area.
Yeah, Cheatwood just gave Crandall a little bit of a push at the end of that play.
Who has made the reception on the far side.
And I will say this.
Hamilton 49, first down.
I will say this of the officials with regards to the roughing the passer rule. Right up here is Cheatwood, and he's going to come around the corner. Now Crandall lets go of the football, and I will say this about the way they're calling this. They have been consistent with it.
That's the right call on that play.
He took an extra little step, put his head into Crandall, try and give him a little bump, and then he turned around, knew exactly what the call was.
First down for the Stampeders, so they did receive good yardage on the kick return from McGarity. A first down by penalty there, and here's McGarity, a little shovel pass. McGarity has room to the outside, and back-to-back first downs as Heath forced McGarity out on the far side inside the 30.
New play for the Calgary Stampeders, one we haven't seen this season from John Jenkins. McGarity's going to come from this side. He's going to be the under guy on the shovel pass, just a way to get the ball in the hands of number 86, who I truly believe if he can see the football 10 to 15 times in a game, Wayne McGarity will be the next big star. He can run with the best of them.
15 yards picked up by the Stampeders. First down Calgary inside the Ticat 30. Crandall. And that's Victor Ike, and the running game is still non-existent as Twommy Settles was there to meet the Stampeder running back. Victor Ike coming into the game. The Stampeders had rushed for 42 yards in 2 games. It's not part of the plan.
Well, John Jenkins, you know, he's worked as a coordinator with Matt Dunnigan. He worked with him in Winnipeg, Birmingham, and Hamilton, and you know, he sort of was the beginnings with a guy like Matt Dunnigan throwing the football. He's always sort of been a run and shoot style of offensive coordinator with good quarterbacks at the helm, and that's why he likes to pass the ball.
On second down, intercepted, picked off as Montana was the intended target. And stepping in front, Marcus Spencer. It was an easy interception for Spencer. And the Tiger Cats get it right back, ending Calgary's most successful drive of the afternoon near the 35-yard line. Crandall intercepted right there. That's when things turned around for Matt Dunnigan's Calgary Stampeders with a couple of first downs. Another problem, another error.
Well, the problem was number 72, Johnny Scott. He goes one-on-one with Taylor Robertson, and look at the push he gets on 65, gets right in the lap of Marcus Crandall, so Crandall can't step into a throw that's going to the outside and has to get there in a hurry to Denny Montana. That's why Spencer can just step into it.
First interception for Spencer. And neither team has run the ball particularly effectively. Troy Davis stopped there and a couple of runs earlier for first downs.
Well, you know, the Calgary offense, well documented their struggles, but what I'm surprised with most, and I'm not taking anything away from the Ticats and the way they've started this season and this game, but this is a defense right now for the Calgary Stampeders that looks flat to me. I mean, they've given up some deep passes where DBs have not just been beat, but been beat by 2-3 yards, and they're not getting a whole lot of pressure on Danny McManus.
On first down, or second down, McManus is intercepted, and here you go. To the end zone, Scott Coe.
And that's what they needed. And they need it in a hurry.
Second interception of the year for Scott Coe, 33 yards. And finally, a little something to cheer about for the fans of Calgary.
And it may be the only bad decision that Danny McManus has made all season long, because he didn't have a lot of pressure. 3-man rush from Calgary, and yet McManus just threw it to the wrong guy. He didn't see Coe coming from the inside, and that's what this 34 defense can do to you sometimes, can cause some confusion even for a veteran.
Fourth interception of the year tossed by Danny McManus, but he has a couple of touchdown tosses so far this afternoon. And at last, the Stampeders are on the board. First 7 points up, registered by...
They do this time. They don't blitz. They go up in the line there, and then they drop out. So does Coe on the right side of your screen. Danny McManus doesn't recognize it in time, tries to get the ball to Morreale, and Scott Coe gets the easy pick and run in for the touchdown.
Scott Coe, the pride of Kelvin High School in Winnipeg, has a 33-yard interception return for the touchdown. Stampeders short kick, and they may have this one. Yes, they do. Double down. You're absolutely right. Charlie Hebert, short kick, and he's got the football. So a little gamble there by the Stampeders after the 6 points from Scott Coe. And there you go, a little something to celebrate on special teams.
Well, it took the two strengths of this football team a quarter to wake up, but it looks like they started to. The defense and the special teams have been what led the Calgary Stampeders to a 1-1 record, and pretty good football from those two phases of the game. They were sleeping in the first quarter. It looks like they're back. Big play defensively from Scott Coe, and then Charlie Hebert.
And he played that perfectly, Glenn. The short kick. Well executed by the Stampeders rookie kicker, Charlie Hebert, who is leading the league on punt average, 46.7 coming in. Nice little touch on the ball there. So let's see what Marcus Crandall and the Stampeders can do with this turnaround. Behind the receiver, and it's dropped. Nicholas Lewis might well have made the catch. Would have been a difficult one, however.
Yeah, it was behind him, and Lewis was in front of the zone defense, wide open. Probably could have turned around and picked up another 5 to 10 yards. So that may just look like an incompletion from Crandall, who's showing very little confidence. But that could have been a big play for the Calgary Stampeders as well.
Might have gunned it a little bit, seeing his receiver out there and open. But he missed the target. So it's 2nd and 10 at the 50. Heats on Crandall. This time he's on the money, and he'll get a first down. A nice spin around move after making the catch by Celicio Sanford. Wayne Shaw wrapped him up.
Celicio Sanford had 1 catch in the first 2 games, but this is a better throw from Marcus Crandall. 1, 2, 3, plant, get your shoulders pointed in the right direction, and that's a dart to the outside. And the timing was right.
Sanford was playing it perfectly.
Yeah, maybe that throw alone will give Crandall a little more confidence in that pocket.
Stampeders at the Ticat 45, first down. Little end around. This is McGarity, and a flag is down in a hurry as McGarity is dragged out.
Tim Cheatwood ruined that play. I mean, he just destroyed it because he took Seth Dittman, put him back in the backfield, and Dittman was so mad about it and upset with it that he gets the penalty after the fact, I believe.
Calgary, 67, first down repeated.
They're going to call Crysdale, but watch there. Watch this play from Tim Cheatwood. He gets up the field in a hurry. Here comes, well, it was Crysdale right there, not Dittman. I apologize to Seth Dittman. It was Crysdale on the play, but he was not happy. He tried to pull around from the center and got it right under the chin from Tim Cheatwood.
First and 20.
Penalty against the Stampeders means 20 yards necessary for another Calgary first down. Under the cover, and Victor Ike is wrapped up quickly. Jason Lamar had him in his sights.
Yeah, Jason Lamar took off from his linebacker spot in a hurry, and that was, again, a timing issue with the Calgary offense, because there's Lamar right here. Now, what Crandall has to do is try and sell it a little bit longer. As Jason Lamar, see how he's flowing that way already? Crandall looking to the screen man, Victor Ike, from the beginning of that play to the end of it. And that didn't hold Jason Lamar at all. Lamar could read the eyes of Crandall, slide over there, and was in perfect position.
2nd and 20 from midfield now. Crandall with time, guns this one, and just overthrew the intended target, Albert Connell.
Albert Connell looked like he hesitated a little bit at the end of that play. He had to get in behind Donovan Carter and in front of Rodney Heath, who was playing deep, and he looked like as he got in behind the first guy, he hesitated on the football. Had a crack at it because it only missed him by a few inches.
Stampeders do regain a little bit of field position as a result, pending the return by Craig Yeast coming up here. Charlie Hebert at his 41. Not a beautiful kick. One hopper to Yeast, and he's surrounded. There are markers all over the place down there. We'll sort it out and return to McMahon in Calgary. The return just 2 yards. McManus tossed an interception on his last possession, but he's tossed a couple of touchdowns and has the Ticats comfortably in the lead. As the penalty goes against the Stampeders. So McManus gets good field position again, or at least a little better field position, Glenn, out near the 35.
Yeah, and Matt Dunnigan is not happy about it at all. But you're right; it's been that kind of afternoon. When you talk field position and real estate, it's been all Hamilton in that regard.
Rough play charged against Calgary, so the Ticats begin right here. McManus looked for Davis.
McManus trying to screen with number 32, Troy Davis.
That went through the hands of Nate Terry, who was coming on a blitz from the corner, which you don't see very often in the CFL, with the field being 65 yards wide. But well, that didn't work. Terry, a couple of interceptions, victimized a couple of times versus Montreal, but played very well in game one.
Tiger Cats 2nd and 10. McManus has Craig Yeast, and Yeast is wrapped up short of a first down, so Hamilton will be kicking away. That was George White over to put the grab on Yeast, who couldn't escape that tackle there.
Yeah, the defense is now, for the Calgary Stampeders, they got their wake-up call. Occasionally you miss a wake-up call here and there.
It's happened.
Took a first quarter to wake them up because there's all-stars back there. It's Denny Crehan's group is led by that linebacking core, and Crehan, when you have George White, Brian Clark, John Grace, Scott Cole, we've seen what Scott Cole can do. That interception for a touchdown. You expect leadership from that group. He's now getting it.
Wayne McGarity back at his 30. Jason Curry sails it right to him. Not a huge return for McGarity, about 7 yards. 1st and 10 Stampeders when we return to Wendy's CFL Live from McMahon. Tiger Cats' next home game against the Toronto Argonauts, Saturday, July 10th. Tickets are available at the Ticats office. Great to see a super crowd there for the preseason game in Hamilton, and then week one with 25,000 plus.
Well, was that a great experience in that game? The home opener versus the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. 26,000 fans in attendance, and it was something to see in Hamilton.
Marcus Crandall, no one home, had to unload it.
You know, defensively, John, when you're talking about what would you rather have, an experienced secondary or a great pass rush, and I will always go for the pass rush. Having played in the secondary, I know that you can get by with a good pass rush. If you have a good pass rush, you can get by with an average secondary. If you have an average secondary, if you have a good secondary and not a good pass rush, you're in big, big trouble. This is a rookie group back there, with the exception of Wayne Shaw in the secondary, but you can see how confident they can play. They can jump routes when they have a pass rush like they have the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
2nd and 10 Stampeders. Target open far side, and there's room to roam after making the catch. Albert Connell streaking down the sideline. Wamby Settles got over to make the tackle on Connell, who caught 6 for 127 against Montreal.
Well, John, how do you beat a good pass rush? With a quick passing game. That's how you beat it. You throw the ball before the pass rush gets there. 1, 2, 3, get it out there on the screen, and then let Albert Connell do the rest. Rodney Heath, number 11, the corner on the play, slipped trying to make the tackle on Connell. He was the only guy that could get there, and I think Johnny Scott on the sideline pulled up as he was trying to pursue.
Connell was the lone bright spot for the Stampeders on offense.
Scott has not come back.
See what Crandall can do here. Hit from behind as the charge was on. Tim Cheatwood had a little pressure on, and Belly was there.
Well, Johnny Scott out with an injury. Brings Greg Walls in. He's a rookie, and it didn't matter because Cheatwood and Montfort and Belly did their things. Cheatwood leading the way. He was working on Seth Dittman. This time I know it was Dittman because he was the guy disappointed with himself and hitting his helmet after the play. So Walls, a rookie of Southern Florida, gets a chance. Johnny Scott grabbed his hamstring in pursuit of Albert Connell on the previous play.
Ticats brought the heat on first down. 2nd and 10, more heat. And there was no one open and no time for Marcus Crandall at all there. He fired it into row 1.
And this is the pressure that I've been talking about. The one play they've had success with, Crandall got rid of the ball in a couple of seconds, and he just has, I mean, there's no steamboats, there's barely rowboats. Go ahead and run it and watch how quickly they get back there. I mean, this is fast break time now. They do come with blitz on this particular play with Jason Lamar, the middle linebacker, but they've been getting pressure like that with just a 4-man rush as well, and that's been the problem for the Calgary Stampeders.
So here's Charlie Hebert, set up for a 30-yard try. Michael Sousa puts it down, and Hebert puts it through, so add 3 more to the Stampeders total. It's now a 15-point game. Welcome back to McMahon in Calgary. Stampeders clawing their way back into this one. Tiger Cats with a hot start and a 25-0 lead. The last 2 scores belong to the Stampeders. A little heat on McManus. He eludes it, and here's Craig Yeast off to the races again. Yeast is dragged down inside the 20-yard line and caught from behind by Joey Bose.
Well, one of the advantages defensively of a 34 is that you can confuse an offense with a lot of movement from linebackers. One way offensively to beat that, and what Danny McManus did on that play, was to bring in a tight end formation. Double tights with 3 receivers. Look, 2 tight ends right here. He's got a wider line, more protection up front. That takes care of the pressure. He has time to stand in there now and find Craig Yeast, who had got him behind coverage.
And Yeast makes it a 60-yard gain for the Tiger Cats, setting Hamilton up with a first down at the Stampeder 15. Davis tries the right side. Troy Davis. And a penalty flag comes down in the coverage.
Well, there'll be
might have been a face mask there, Wes Lysak.
Probably a couple. And Lysak may have got the face mask, and then he may have got it for the push at the end. But again, Hamilton going with that tight end formation, and what they do is bring Ray Thomas in. He plays one side, and they move Julian Radlin, the fullback, up to play the other tight end spot. And they've shown a running play now and a passing play out of that set, and it just gives Danny McManus more time and widens the corners for any kind of blitzing defense that this 34 can present it.
Major foul,
Calgary.
Face mask, Calgary, number 31. Unnecessary roughness, Calgary, number 31.
Got them both.
First down.
Well, it could have been worse when you look at it.
See right here, there's you can see how wide they get. Now, Davis is trying to bounce to the outside. Here comes the penalties. Lysak comes from the safety. He's got his face mask right there. Doesn't let go, and then he gives him another push once they're 3 yards out of bounds. Throws him over the advertisements in the corner.
So Lysak helps the Ticats get down to the 3, and from there Davis is in for the touchdown. Troy Davis, a 3-yard touchdown. There was a penalty flag down prior to his crossing the goal line.
Against the Hamilton Tiger Cats, John, I think it's procedure, and it'll be coming back.
Hamilton, no end. First down repeated.
So the formation confused the Tiger Cats a little bit. What do you think?
Well, what they did is they went in and they played, instead of with 2, they played with 1 tight end to the right side and had an incorrect formation. Julian Radlin was playing the double tight. He went back to the fullback set, caused some confusion, and they didn't have the line set up correctly.
So it'll be 1st and goal to go. The Tiger Cats are moved back to the Stampeder 8-yard line. McManus will put it up, and not this time. Coverage was too tight. Nate Terry makes the play. The pass intended for Craig Yeast.
Yeah, and that was a good play by Nate Terry. I mean, that's big time because that's a tough one to cover. You've got all-out blitz. You have no underneath help. Grace is coming here. Coe is coming from the top. So that inside of the field, over the middle, is wide open. That's the toughest position to cover. Nate Terry cuts underneath, almost makes a great catch for an interception. Big-time play from Terry.
Couple of interceptions for Terry on the season already. 2nd and goal from the 8. McManus with time. And miscommunication, or did he throw it away?
Milo Lewis, John, changed the mind of Archie Amerson, and Danny McManus didn't think that Amerson was going to change his mind. That's the bottom line. Amerson had a corner called to go down the field and break to the outside to the corner of the end zone. That's what McManus called. That's where he threw the football. And when Milo Lewis got an outside position on Archie Amerson, he changed his mind and curled up.
Jamie Borum was good on his first official field goal in the CFL. Kicked a couple in preseason. 1 for 1. And he's 2 for 2. So the new field goal kicker for the Tiger Cats, Jamie Borum, a rookie out of the University of Manitoba, is perfect so far.
Greg Marshall not happy with the fact that a procedure call takes a touchdown off the board, though, and that's why he's showing that intensity. Now we'll check with Johnny Scott on his condition. Can you go, is the question asked right there.
We're busy next week. First, we're off to Winnipeg, where the Rough Riders take on the Blue Bombers after a huge Saskatchewan win. Wendy's CFL Live comes your way Thursday, 8 o'clock Eastern Time.
Henry Burris, very good in that Saskatchewan win versus the BC Lions.
He had quite a night, didn't he? Burris with 4 touchdown tosses. How about Joseph for the Renegades?
He looks
pile of touchdowns.
Looks fantastic.
436 yards, 3 touchdowns passing, 3 rushing.
Grey Cup in Ottawa this year, and the Renegades off to a 3-0 start.
And the Eskimos 0-3. So I'm thinking that just to the north of here, things are not quite as happy as they usually are early in the football season.
A lot of different scenarios this year. Up is down in a lot of ways. You think about the Ticats season of a year ago and the way they've started.
McGarity watches it trickle out of bounds. We talked about Ottawa, perfect so far, and then you'd wonder about the defending Grey Cup champions.
Yeah.
On the other end of the scale.
And this is what I meant about up is down. I mean, the East 7-0 record versus the West. Last year 14-26, and remember Montreal won 7 of those. So it's one team counting for half of the Eastern wins against the West. McManus off to his great start, but you know the records just flopped. I mean, if it continues this way, there will be an Eastern crossover in the playoffs into the West Division, which
absolutely unheard of is that.
You know, you hate to say it that matter of factly, but yeah, I mean, it has been Western dominance for quite a few years, and it's not anymore.
Stampeders on first down.
Okay.
Made the catch.
Now
Albert Connell had it bounce off his pads, and he got it back.
I should preface this, though, by saying Western dominance with the exception of the Montreal Alouettes.
You're correct about that, yes.
They have been consistently strong in the East and in the entire league for years.
And again, it is Montreal leading the way in the East, tied with the Ottawa Renegades. Perfect records after 3 weeks. 2nd and 5, Calgary. 3:16 to go till halftime. Crandall takes off, thinking run all the way, and how close did he get to the first down? Well, a penalty flag comes down, so he may get it anyway. Marcus Spencer making the tackle.
Cheatwood flew over there and got involved at the end of that. He may be called on it.
Major foul, necessary roughness, Hamilton, 49, first out.
Second effort from Tim Cheatwood. He just stepped up, and Crandall had to run because his receivers at this side of the field got all jammed up in here at this side. He had no one to throw to. They get jammed up at the line of scrimmage, so he sees that immediately and takes off. And watch Cheatwood in pursuit. Crandall goes down, Cheatwood goes over top, goes at his head, and that will be called every time.
So it's a first down for the Stampeders. Less than 3 minutes to go till halftime. Calgary set up at the Ticat 40. On the ground, and Ike takes off. His best run of the year inside the 30. Victor Ike stopped by Rodney Heath. Stampeders are on the move. Here are the Stampeders with an opportunity here in the dying moments of the opening half after a tough start. Crandall has McGarity, and he'll come close to a first down. Cox was covering. Renard Cox forced him out.
Better timing on the throw. Remember, this is a similar pattern that Marcus Crandall threw that was intercepted by Marcus Spencer. But this time the timing's better. You see how McGarity turns around, and it's only another second before the ball arrives, and that's better timing from quarterback to receiver.
They mark it as a gain of 7, 2nd and 3. Stampeders here. Crandall will get the first down. So he's looking a lot sharper, connecting with Nicholas Lewis there, number 82, and Marcus Spencer makes the tackle. So Marcus Crandall all of a sudden has found the touch.
Well, you know that the fans here at McMahon Stadium are probably wondering if Matt Dunnigan makes a change at halftime like he did versus Montreal. Marcus Crandall can go a long way to staying on the field in the second half if he can finish this drive here. As you know, that had to cross the mind of Matt Dunnigan. Consider a change with the way their offense had struggled.
14-yard gain for the Stampeders, set up inside the Tiger Cat 10-yard line now. 3 cracks at it from here. Crandall has Ike. Ike turns the corner, lost the ball.
Oh.
And I think Calgary should maintain possession. Maybe not.
Well, Sandy Beveridge was very close. I think they do. I'm not sure that a Ticat touched it before it went out. Someone other than the tackler would have had to have touched that ball before it went out of bounds. The tackler doesn't count. This stays to possession of the offense. So that one is still Calgary ball.
Yep.
No other Ticat touches it. It goes out of bounds. So Calgary retains possession. So this one here, that's just contact, and now it's still offensive ball unless it's touched again, and it's not.
So the Stampeders retain possession. They lose a little yardage. And this is 2nd down and goal to go. Crandall stands in, and he'll have the touchdown. Albert Connell makes the catch on the goal line and falls across. Now a penalty flag has gone down in the end zone after the play.
That would indicate the pass interference and or illegal contact. So good hard throw on a tough curl pattern from Albert Connell, because there wasn't a whole lot of room to get the football in there for Marcus Crandall. Crandall's going to try and move this way to buy himself a little more time. The line slides to help with some protection. Belly gets loose late, but look at that. That's a tough window to get the football in. Rodney Heath was very close. Crandall threw a dart in there to Connell for the touchdown.
And Connell makes a great play after the catch at about the 1-yard line.
So that kind of throw could keep Marcus Crandall on the field in the second half as well.
Major foul, necessary roughness. Calgary, number 50, will be applied on the kickoff.
Well, the back judge, I mentioned it's usually where the interference is. That's the back judge. But he could see from his vantage point some extra stuff going on up front.
Definitely the flag came down after the play. So.
Yeah.
So the Stampeders have climbed back into this one. It's 28-17 on the score clock here at McMahon Stadium in Calgary, and it was a sorry beginning for the Stampeders, down 25-0 at one stage. So here's Albert Connell into the end zone one more time. He was the star last week against Montreal.
More confidence there. He had Adriano Belli wrapped around his legs and threw a tough throw. You can see McGarry, number 86, at the right of your screen here. He's going to clear out, go down the field, and get into the end zone to try and take coverage with him. Rodney, he's pretty close. There's Belli wrapped around Marcus Crandall, throws a strike, and well, he needed that one.
Did he ever? And I'm not sure, but if Dunnigan was thinking of making a change at the half, I think he's changed his mind now, because in the latter stages of the second quarter, Crandall has been able to move this football team.
Well, and you buy yourself at least another series if you're Marcus Crandall. You know, you have a good series. Starts out by a penalty. The kickoff went out of bounds. That gave them their best field position probably of the game so far. Then they got another penalty to move closer. But 3 or 4 good throws on time for Marcus Crandall probably bought him another series in the second half at the very least, or at least a start.
Penalty is applied against McNeil, so it's a Stampeder kickoff from the 20. So the Tiger Cats have lots of time and will come up with good field position as a result of this kickoff with 2:04 to go till halftime. Craig Yeast at the 30. Nice head of steam, slowed down and drops.
You know, that's
midfield.
That's a big turn of events, so because that takes a little momentum away from the Stampeders. They get a drive together, they get Albert Connell in the end zone, and then an undisciplined penalty from Jay McNeil puts them in a tough situation to kick off, and now Craig Yeast gets a decent return, and Hamilton has plenty of time to take that momentum away, take the wind out of the sails of the Stamps, as they were just getting a little bit of a breeze in that sail.
And at time, McManus has scored almost at will. He scored quickly with big plays.
Well, it was all him in the first quarter without question.
To Amerson for 40 yards. To DJ Flick for 45. Those were the early touchdowns for McManus. He had time there, and miscommunication, it would appear. Looking for Troy Davis.
Troy Davis had the left turn signal on and turned right. You know when you're behind a car and that happens.
Yeah,
how do you feel about that?
He pulled a Roger instead of a Larry, basically. How it worked there.
You know, the turnaround for Calgary in this game to scratch their way back into it has been a play from their defense. Scott Coe had the interception, and they played better in the second quarter.
This could be a very huge play for the Stampeder defense if they can get to McManus here. And not on time. McManus has Amerson, and Amerson will have plenty for the first down. Brian Clark was back in coverage to make the tackle there.
I just think that the difference is that when Danny McManus gets time like this to throw the football, he's allowing receivers to get into the third and fourth stages of their routes. I mean, this is that play takes a long time to develop. Archie Amerson came from way out at the right sideline, got all the way inside the hash mark before Danny McManus threw the football to him.
19-yard gain, and the Stampeders had the Ticats in second and long. Here's McManus, 3 receivers near side, and he's down, wrapped up by John Grace.
Well, Fleming got there too, and Joe Fleming is looking for his first sack of the season. Brian Clark went on the blitz. Fleming was at the bottom of that pile, John. Not sure if he'll get credit or it will be Grace or Clark, but it's a blitz from the linebacking core again. There's Brian Clark, 48. Here he comes. And John Grace is the delayed blitz. You see on the bottom of that pile was 76. He had his arms around the leg.
I call it a tie.
You call it a deadlock?
7 and 76 were both there. Might go down as a big play for the Stampeders, forcing the Ticats into second and long here. Can they make the play on the far side? Yes. Stampeder defense comes up with the play.
Well,
Breedlove was the target.
Boy, that was Danny McManus. He put it right where it had to be, and Breedlove had to kind of slow down and look behind him a bit and just missed. McManus he's going to take the blame and put that on his shoulders. I thought that was a pretty good throw because there wasn't a whole lot of room. You see the safety over top. There's Nate Terry underneath. That's tough to get that ball in there. Joey Bose had dropped back into the deep coverage. He was providing the over top help, and Nate Terry underneath. Not a big window to get it in there.
Terry might have distracted him just a little bit by his position. So the Stampeder defense comes up with a huge play. And here's Jason Curry. Angled it for the sidelines. Whoa! An adventure down there. Ticats say they have it. And if they get a vote, they do. Picked up by Spencer. Marcus Spencer coming up with the recovery. 56 seconds on the clock. And after the defense comes up with that, a special teams
Wayne McGarity, John, took a peek. The ball's going to be on the ground. Now watch him take a peek down the field. Right there, he looks down the field to take a look at Battle that was coming down to tackle him and to see how he was going to make a move one way or another. And when he took that peek, took his eyes off the football, and he hadn't had control of it just yet.
That's heartbreaking for the Stampeders in the comeback bid that they are in the midst of. Here are the Tiger Cats set up inside the 10-yard line. First and goal to go. The Stampeders were at the 6. Sheldon Napustuk.
Well, this is exactly what Hamilton did the last time they were down here. They started out with a tight end formation, went with a running play to Troy Davis. Their second choice was to bring in the receivers one more time, send the big guys back out, which they're doing right now. They tried to go to Archie Amerson. See what they do this time. Remember, Amerson changed his mind, didn't run his route, cut it off at the curl, and it was incomplete. They had to settle for a field goal. We'll see what happens here.
Second and goal to go. Tiger Cats at the Stampeders 6. McManus with time. The end zone toss. Morielli was the target. No flags anywhere.
Yeah, and what McManus wanted was for Morielli to do one of two things: sit down or just turn to the outside, because the coverage was provided in the middle. Here's Morielli, and he's going to go down here. See where the coverage is lined up. There's the safety. They're going to drop back. Now watch, if Morielli just pulls up right about where the L is, right there, and stops, now he's wide open. If he continues through, safety help is coming from the inside. So as Morielli can sit there, comes the safety. Now the play is no good.
Jamie Borum is 2 for 2. The Tiger Cats have settled for a couple of field goals when they got deep inside Stampeder territory late in the first half. Borum made the first one, and he'll get a chance to think about his second try here.
Well, whether it's penalty against the Ticats or not, Borum is in chip shot range.
Borum made a 49-yarder on his first try. That was in the opening quarter.
Jason Curry had done the field goal kicking, was 2 of 5, 40% coming into this game. Jamie Borum put on the roster.
Hamilton, number 38, still third down.
Greg Marshall saying he wanted a little more length in the kickoffs, but he also liked the leg strength of Jamie Borum. He's a good athlete out of Manitoba. Borum, of course, played more than just a kicking position in university, was a safety as well, and good athlete.
Nice beginning to his CFL career. He's 3 for 3. Chip shot there for Jamie Borum as the Ticats add to their total. Cats were definitely in range for a couple of touchdowns and came away with field goals.
Well, it keeps them in striking range, although they still are in a deep hole. And Hamilton still, it almost looks like Hamilton is stopping themselves at times.
Ike coming out of the backfield, turns the corner for the Stampeders, breaks a tackle out near the 50-yard line. Victor Ike being used a little bit more and stopped by Marcus Spencer.
Well, that play by Victor Ike gives Marcus Crandall a chance for a couple of more plays and maybe a field goal try, because they are now in striking range. I mean, that's the kind of play that John Jenkins calls to just see what happens. If Ike doesn't pick much up, they kill the rest of the half and go in down 31-17. If he picks up decent yardage, now they take a crack at it.
Ike picked up 14 there on the clock. 19 seconds till the half. Crandall faked the shovel, had Connell, and Connell was hit immediately. Wrapped up by Renard Cox.
Yeah, he was hit hard. I mean, this is Albert Connell now. Just he's turned around, waiting for the football to arrive, And because he double clutches it, he has to keep his eyes on it. And then watch number 24, Renard Cox. And those ones hurt because you get the helmet right underneath the chin and you're both planted. That's a jolt to the receiver. They don't look fancy, John.
No, you're right about that.
But they hurt. Yeah, see that, and that's, you know, those were the kind of hits. You see Albert Connell's chin guard there? Those are plastic coated, and then they have the foam thing over top. In the old days, those used to be just little leather things around the chin straps. Those were just leather, but hits like that are the reason that they invented those kind of chin straps with the big hard plastic thing, because they can jolt you.
So what old days are you talking about? Your old days?
No, that was leather helmet days. I'm talking about leather chin strap days.
14 seconds to go. Crandall near side has Connell, and now 10 seconds remain.
Well, 10 seconds, but the Calgary Stampeders didn't pick up the first down there.
First down.
Yeah, that's the question, because the throw from Marcus Crandall brought Albert Connell back another yard and a half, and that put him short by a yard and a half.
Might as well throw a long one here. What do you think?
Well, if you're going to go, you might as well go for another 10, 15-yard route and set up your field goal team. But it's got to happen quickly.
Marcus Crandall looking down the near side. Connell goes up. Nice catch. 4 seconds to go. And they're in range.
That's a nice catch. Throw behind, deliberate throw behind to Albert Connell. He's just going to go down the field. Watch this. Good look at it here. Rodney Heath one-on-one. Now, the deliberate throw right to the hip. Connell stops. Tough for the defensive back to stop because he's reacting to Connell's movement, and he's always a step late. And Connell makes a nice catch over top of him and keeps his foot in bounds.
For a 25-yard gain. And so the Stampeders get a crack at getting one of those field goals back. Rookie Charlie Hebert is in from McNeese State. Good on 3 of 5 for 60%.
Emotionally, this is a big kick for the Calgary Stampeders.
Hebert has made some already this season, and he's got this one.
That gives him a lift going in at the half.
It is a huge lift. Stampeders nail a 35-yard field goal on the final play of the first half. It's 31-20. For Matt Dunnigan, here's Jermaine.
Coach, looked like you needed an extra quarter to get ready. What was the slow start? Why was that?
I don't know. You tell me. Our guys just were slow out of the gate, and I just kept telling them, believe. We play 60 minutes of football. That's what we're paid to do, and that's what we're going to do. And second quarter, we started making some plays. Still, we had to overcome ourselves. A lot of penalties, and but to tell you, this team's resilient. We got another 30 minutes to play, Jermaine, and we'll see where we're at after that.
Speaking of resilient, Marcus Crandall definitely had a strong second quarter. How important was that for his confidence and the team's confidence?
Well, it's huge. I mean, you said it all right there. Team's confidence. You got to have a guy that's hot, and Marcus is. We feel like he's the guy for us. He gives us the best chance to win, and sticking by him. He's a player, and I'm just going to keep patting him on the back and telling him positive things, and he'll go out there and perform. I know he will, and it's going to be interesting 30 minutes of football.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Jermaine.
Well, we're hoping he's correct with that. A couple of ex-teammates, rookie coaches in the Canadian Football League, Greg Marshall, Matt Dunnigan, have put on a pretty good show for us here. It was a hot start for the Tiger Cats. When Emerson scores on the second play of the ball game offensively for the Tiger Cats, that really took the wind out of the Stampeders' sail, and it really took Calgary a while to get back on track.
Well, and then when they got the win in the second, they did. And you heard Greg Marshall at halftime say that he needed to score in the red zone. The Ticats could have made the lead probably better by 8 points at least, and twice in the red zone had to settle for field goals.
Second half is underway, and so is Wayne McGarity in flights, met at the 40-yard line, and Sandy Beveridge was waiting for him there, 15 yards on the return. And Marcus Crandall had a fairly solid second quarter after a very slow start. Danny McManus, the hot start.
Great start, 11 for 20, 261 for McManus, touchdowns early on, and then saw Crandall get some confidence, and it was really the second half of the second quarter, because even in the first half of that quarter, he was a little off. So Danny McManus just has to straighten some things out in the red zone. Other than that, he's throwing the ball very well once again.
The one interception, though, by Scott Coe went for 6 for the Stampeders. So it's an 11-point game as the second half gets underway. Here's Crandall, Connell, and about 5 yards for Albert Connell, met by Rodney Heath.
Well, you heard Chris Schultz talk about it. Albert Connell could be the key, which puts him in a one-on-one in a lot of instances with Rodney Heath. So we'll see how that matchup develops in the second half. I would agree, though, that Connell could be the key if he can get on the same website with Marcus Crandall, because we got to update that cliche. You get on the same website with Marcus Crandall, and they could come back in a hurry.
Over 100 in the first half. Second down, Stampeders. And a little anxious there. That was an ugly toss. Solucio Sanford was the intended receiver there. And Dunnigan wants to know what happened.
Yeah, he wants to know why he didn't recognize, both the receiver and quarterback didn't recognize what was happening quicker. And that's the discussion going on right now. He says, you gotta, Marcus Crandall basically saying, well, I had a defensive lineman right in my face. I saw that, and I just didn't see our receiver get there as quickly as I needed him to, and I didn't get the ball there as quickly as I needed him to.
Charlie Hebert goes up to bring this one down and sails it with the wind at his back. Craig Yeast back to his goal line, trapped at the 3, escapes to about the 6-yard line. That's the return, and leading the tacklers, Calgary's George West. Player of the game. Rogers, your world right now. Text messaging available. Rogers wireless headsets. Or check out the fourth quarter on CFL.ca. Ticats begin deep in the Hamilton zone around the 5-yard line. And running has not been a huge part of either team's repertoire. That was Troy Davis.
Well, whatever he got there, he got on his own, because that play designed to go right into the teeth of the Calgary defense. It actually caught Calgary in a blitz, and the blitz was coming right in the hole.
Joe Fleming was there for the tackle. Now, the wind, a bit of a factor in the first half. It seems to have died down a little bit, but here's how the numbers stack up with the wind and without.
Well, just the points alone, 51 points, 45 of them with the wind. It doesn't look strong when you look at some of the flags here, but
that one got away from McManus. And it was in the throwing motion. No one made move to jump on a loose ball down there.
Joe Fleming has an interception, if not for 300 pounds all over his back. That ball knocked up in the air, and Fleming has his hands on it, but Dave Hack at 300 pounds was hanging on him, and Fleming couldn't get there. Watch this as this ball is snapped, batted up in the air, right?
No, it's right out of his
hands. And you see Hack hanging on the back of Joe Fleming. I thought that was touched a little bit, but it went right out of his hands, and a wet ball.
Just lost it.
Here's Fleming off the right side. Hack has him, and he has him in that headlock, or else that's an interception for Fleming.
Here's Jason Curry punting into the wind, standing about 10 yards deep in the end zone. Ticats have the lead, and they'll give up a couple here.
See, here's what happens, though. Craig Yeast, when that punt a couple plays ago bounces past him, he doesn't let it go into the end zone, doesn't give up a single point. Hamilton starts basically inside their 5, then they have to give up 2. So they, instead of giving up 1, getting field position, punting the ball and having a field position advantage, now they have to give up 2 and then kick the ball to the Calgary Stampeders anyway.
So now it's a 2-point turnaround in that sense, but it's a 9-point game, so it's a 2-score game.
Well, and the decision only costs them 1 point different, right? Because it's a single or giving up the safety, which is 2. But it does cause some field position difference and some momentum difference. Like small plays like that you can build on as a coach, and that's what Matt Dunnigan's likely saying right now. Okay, we held him to a safety, aggressive play. Now let's get some field position. Let's take it back offensively.
And on the Calgary side, Greg Marshall is thinking about the 2 opportunities for Majors late in the first half that got away when they settled for field goals.
Red zone production is all he wanted to improve on. That's what he talked about at halftime.
Ticats open a huge lead on the Calgary Stampeders. The Stamps have battled back. It was 25-0 in the opening quarter.
Well, at one time it was 6 first downs for Hamilton to nothing for the Calgary Stampeders.
So little by little, the Stampeders have chipped their way back into this game. Big return here would help out a lot. Scott Diverts, and a penalty flag goes down at the 45. Jason Lamar leading the Ticat tacklers, 27 on the return.
John Jenkins talking with Marcus Crandall, and I would agree with Jock Limey saying that they've cut the field in half basically.
Calgary, number 36.
For Marcus Crandall, and what they'll do now is put Albert Connell into that short side of the field. You heard Chris Schultz mention that as well. Put Connell in there, and now you work on half the field, and that's a good decision to make because your quarterback was struggling, and you've got the 3rd best receiver in the CFL with numbers-wise anyway at this point.
Albert Connell with 321. Craig Yeast, who's technically a part-time receiver and special teams guy, is sitting right behind him. Penalty against Calgary for holding on the return, and that means they'll start deeper in the zone, and Juhas makes a nice catch there.
Okay, now that's just a little turnout pattern from Juhas, right? Remember when Marcus Crandall, just in that last series, we said what happened there, the timing was off, the receiver didn't get there. Well, that time, that's all the adjustment they have to make. Exactly the same play, but this time, Juhas, rather than running out to that out pattern slowly, just turns around and presents a target for Marcus Crandall.
Mike Juhas with a 13-yard gain. Gets that penalty yardage back, and the Stampeders are out near the 40-yard line now with a first down. Trailing by 9. The running game is just not there for the Stampeders. Dunnigan wanted to look at it a little more closely and go to the run game, but Jason Lamar was there to wrap up Calgary's #1 running back, Victor Ike.
These two teams, you know, 8 and 9 in the league running the football. One of the reasons for that is that they don't have running quarterbacks. Marcus Crandall can move around a little bit and buy time and scramble, but he's not necessarily a running quarterback. So he doesn't stretch the corners. Those defensive ends can just bear down when the running back takes the football. They don't have to respect Crandall on the outside quite as much.
Stampeders lost 2, so Crandall looks at 2nd and 12 here. Back at the 35. Crandall has a target, and a good move by Juhas after he made the catch. Back to back for Mike Juhas.
You know, it's a subtle move by Mike Juhas, but it's a good one. And what it is Juhas will stop his momentum just as the ball's arriving to set up his move before he catches the pass. Nice throwing lane, first of all, and you got a great look at it there. And Juhas had just geared it down a little bit so that he could put the brakes on, catch that, and make his move all in one motion.
23 yards the pickup for the Stampeders, and Mike Juhas with back-to-back catches for Calgary. So a much better start to the second half for the Stampeders. Crandall across midfield. Just got it away and underthrew his intended receiver, Victor Ike.
He was looking for Albert Connell. Marcus Crandall wanted Albert Connell down the sideline, and then Mumford quickly changed the mind of Marcus Crandall. Watch Mumford up here. He's in hot pursuit. Now Crandall takes the football. He wants to go deep down the field to Albert Connell. And he can feel Mumford right there. So he says, well, I better get rid of it, and I can't get it to Connell now. And just dumps it to the feet. Victor Ike.
Montford was applying some pressure. 2nd and 10 Stampeders. Just into Tiger Cat territory. Crandall a pump fake. Looking for Connell, and he was out of bounds all the way down the field.
Well, they had the protection they needed to Calgary Stampeders offensively. We showed you Joe Montford providing the pressure, so the way Calgary would go back and try and stop that is to get 2 guys on him. You see Victor Ike help out on the outside on Seth Dittman. Now they've got 2 working on Montford, so he can't get there. But when he can't get there, Adriano Belli does a little bit and cause the pass to go out of bounds.
Forced Crandall to rush the throw, so the Stampeders in a punting situation. Hebert back at his 45. Craig Yeast inside his 5. Good special teams coverage by the Stampeders. Joe Bonaventure leading the tacklers and limiting the gain to 4 yards. It's Danny Mac's turn on CFL Live. Sack leaders in the CFL, Joe Montfort. For every sack in today's game, Purelator will contribute the quarterback's weight in food to a local food bank. Purelator, Canada's biggest courier company. In 2003, over 90 tons donated to food banks in CFL cities. Montfort leading Hamilton with 3 sacks on the season, just 1 here for the Calgary Stampeders here this afternoon. McManus, a little sprints and no catch.
More pressure though on Danny McManus with the decision made by Craig Yeast once again. Now this is second punt in a row. First one, Yeast picked it up on his goal line. That last one, Craig Yeast picked it up at about his 3-yard line. Now he's obviously being told that he should run it out, but look where he catches his ball, just inside. That's about the 3-yard line. He lets that go through and he gives up a signal. He's up now on the 35-yard line rather than in their own shadow of their goalpost. Jerome Erdman, special teams coach, obviously said, you know, go ahead and take it if you can. But I don't know about the decision.
McManus missed Amerson the last time, and he'll make a connection with Morielli here.
So here you go, John. Now you're short of the first down by 3-4 yards. The punt team once more comes out. Now, both scenarios at the 15-yard line, you're going to look at now the punt team. If you're Curry, you're standing at your goal line. So you give up a safety, you're giving up 2 points. If you punt it from your goal line and Wayne McGarity gets any kind of return at all, Calgary's basically in field goal range. So 2 special team decisions that you wonder about with Craig Yeast down there on his own goal line.
And as it turned out, they ended up giving up 2 points.
The first time. Let's see what happens the second time.
McGarity back by himself.
They'll kick it.
See, bad kick now.
And it's not a huge kick at all. Out near midfield. Here's McGarity surrounded immediately.
McGarity taking the
nice job. You get 4 or 5 on the return there. Matt Petz leading the tacklers. Here are the Stampeders in good field position. Crandall has a target. It's Montana, and he was wrapped up immediately. Danny Montana.
You know, a lot of people will say that's a risky throw for a couple of yards, but what it can do at times is to set up a play for later on down the road. You throw a couple of those, and Marcus Crandall has thrown a couple in his 20 completions of those wide side hitches, and what you're doing is planting a seed for the defense, saying, yeah, we're just content with these little hitch passes, and then you get them, and you go in behind.
4-yard gain, 2nd and 6, Stampeders. Trailing the Ticats by 9. Crandall goes up and over. McGarity goes to the end zone, stopped at the 5-yard line. Penalty marker was down. Bernard Cox made the tackle, but McGarity makes the play, and Marcus Crandall has turned this game around.
McGarity just one-on-one, blitz coming from the Hamilton Tiger Cats. You see Jason Lamar, 44 up in there. Donovan Carter, number 2, he's blitzing, and that's why it's one-on-one for McGarity on Bernard Cox.
24, decline.
And Bernard Cox interfered with McGarity. They won't have to take that penalty, but once again, that field position difference. Now, this could turn into 2 points the last time they caught a punt on their goal line, and now they're set up for, at the very least, 3 here. So 5-point change in field position alone on 2 decisions on the punt return team for Hamilton.
36-yard gain on the combination. Marcus Crandall to Wayne McGarity, and here are the Stampeders getting a roar from their crowd. Set up with 1st and goal to go from the 5. Victor Ike has 2, maybe 3 yards.
He's tried to power off that left side, take a shot at running it on 1st down with Victor Ike, who's seen the ball probably double as what he's seen all year in this game here this afternoon.
Coming into the game, Victor Ike had 4 carries totaling 1 yard, so they hadn't been running the ball effectively.
He has 6 carries here this afternoon, so there you go.
2nd crack at it for the Stampeders. On second down, Crandall himself, and he won't get there. Stopped at about the 2-yard line.
Well, Greg Walls closed in a hurry. Remember, Greg Walls, the rookie, had to come in and play for Johnny Scott, but boy, did he close because there was a running lane. Watch what Crandall sees. He's coming around the corner. He puts this under his arm because he sees that lane, but look how quickly number 98 gets there. Greg Walls, he's on the roster for Devin Finn, who was hurt last week, and he's out. Greg Walls comes on, and he's coming on the field now for Johnny Scott, who pulled his hamstring earlier on.
So here are the Stampeders down to one crack at it from the 2-yard line with a running game that's not all that effective. Third down and goal to go from the 2, and Crandall doesn't like what he sees, or is looking for more advice on a critical play right now for the Stampeders. Without question.
It is, and it's a good decision, because if the play called does not look like it matches up with the defense in front of you, and it's this crucial of a time in the game and the decision, that's a good call to burn your timeout.
Looking ahead to baseball on TSN, we'll have the Blue Jays and the Mariners coming your way Tuesday, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific time. Blue Jay baseball on TSN.
Oh, this is a biggie. This one, and they say you got to make those big plays, and coaches will say over the history of this game that football often comes down to 3 or 4 big plays in a game to determine who wins and who loses. Well, this is one of those big plays.
This
right
could be monumental for the Stampeders in this game. Third down, goal to go. No catch, no flag. Coverage was way too tight. Marcus Spencer was there, and the Stampeders come up empty. It's still a 9-point game. Stampeder tries from the 5.
Yeah, big play by Renard Cox and Marcus Spencer. Here's Cox right here. Here's Spencer. Watch how they switch on the 2 receivers, McGarity and Sanford. McGarity's going to be the deep one. Now, here's the plan. They want both defenders to go with McGarity to open up Sanford underneath. But watch how they switch the coverage. Cox jumps Sanford. Spencer stays on McGarity. Incomplete pass. Big goal line stand for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
And great coverage by that Tiger Cat secondary.
Absolutely.
So the Stampeders had 3 cracks at it from the 5, the last one from the 2-yard line. And that failed, so here's where the Tiger Cats begin. At the Hamilton 2. McManus looks to get out of a hole. Not this time. Breedlove wanted a call. He won't get it.
Oh, and Mike Morielli was wide open, and that's a nice cover. That's twice now. We've seen a Hamilton DBs cover well. That's Terry, Nate Terry covering well. Morielli over the middle. He's open. He is wide open, but Danny McManus just did not see him. Breedlove was the go-to guy out there. They tried to win a jump ball on Nate Terry, and Nate Terry.
Yeah, Terry played it perfectly too.
Yeah.
So 2nd and 10, Tiger Cats. Another big play for this Stampeder defense.
Oh!
McManus lost it, has to go down, and the Ticats give up a little more. Stampeder defense.
Danny McManus loses the handle again on his own. This is the 2nd time down here, and he tried to pick it up quickly the first time, realized he was in that red paint. And if you're standing in the red paint, then you're in the end zone in McMahon Stadium. And you don't want to mess around too long trying to scoop it up and make a play.
He had to make that
play. Take the safety, yeah, take the safety, or Joe Fleming might have a touchdown.
So another Tiger Cat safety, this time on the fumble by McManus. And all of a sudden, 1 touchdown separates these 2 teams, 31-24. And at 1 point, if you joined us early and went away, you might recall that it was 25-0 for the Tiger Cats. Joe Fleming, one of the real leaders for the Stampeders defense in a year of a lot of changes, forcing Ticats into a situation of giving up another 2 points And Hamilton has to kick off, so the Stampeders get the ball. McGarity looks for a block to the far side. Won't get much running room after that. Run out by the kicker, Jamie Borum.
Well, this will be in this half about as far back as Marcus Crandall has had to start, and they're really only on their own 42. Again, decent field position, and that's been the difference in this game. The team with the best field position has put the points on the board. Best field position and wind. And they seem to have worked together. Two decisions on special teams by Craig Yeast or the coaching staff or both. And Calgary has momentum and is right back in this football game in a big way.
Stampeders took it all the way down to the 2-yard line on the last drive. Let's see what Crandall can do here. One hopper. Connell was the intended receiver. 4:28 to go, third quarter. Stampeders have crawled back into this one.
Those are the kind of throws that are frustrating for Matt Dunnigan and for the fans here in Calgary, because those little hitch screens to the short side of the field should be the automatic right in the chest throws.
And there have been a couple of one-hoppers from Crandall today, including that one. 2nd and 10, Calgary. More authority. He'll get a first down as a result.
Well, and this is why it's frustrating, John, because that was a tough throw from Crandall. I mean, that is as hard as it gets to throw a tight spiral curl in there, and it's just going to be the curl right in here. Take a look and watch how this develops as we go ahead and run it. Inside, Sanford, he's going to turn. There's Connell from the outside. Now, that's a tough throw to make on your heels. That little hit screen is no problem. So, tough to figure out for Matt Dunnigan right now which Marcus Crandall he's going to get from one play to another.
Albert Connell has 11 yards there. Another Stampeder first down. Crandall open target. Juhas. And he'll be stopped short of the first down, surrounded by a couple of Ticat tacklers led by Battle, Jamonte Battle.
That's the third time I've seen Mike Juhas do that same kind of move, where he slows his momentum down, catches the ball, and turns all in one motion. And I like it. I mean, it's a gutsy decision, because when the ball is coming, it's easier for Juhas to take the ball and just head for the sidelines and safely get out of bounds. But he continually takes it, turns into where the tacklers are coming from to pick up an extra couple of yards.
Juhas won a job with a super training camp for the Calgary Stampeders. Picks up 8 yards there. 2nd and 2, Calgary. Crandall stands in. Open target. McGarity to the end zone. Won't quite get there. Cut from behind at the 6. Swampy Settle saves the touchdown.
Well, a monumental throw for Marcus Crandall. Talk about a possible confidence builder, because it's been a long time since Marcus Crandall or any Calgary quarterback has thrown for 300 yards in a game. That throw from Marcus Crandall to Wayne McGarity has just put him over the 300-yard mark, and he hasn't done it in a long, long time. This is an offense for the Calgary Stampeders that has struggled in 2 games, won one of them, lost one of them, but finally their quarterback has hooked up and completed some passes.
42 yards the gain. Here the Stampeders set up inside the 10-yard line of the Ticats again. Crandall looks to the end zone. Fired low again.
Now pressure on him there, and I think he really just threw that at the feet of the receivers because of the coverage that was involved. But take a look at Marcus Crandall. 24, 41, 330. And there has been a bunch of quarterbacks try and throw for 300 yards with the Calgary Stampeders.
I bet you can't name the first names of some of these guys.
There's Frederick, Jones, Posk. I mean, they're all there. 20 games without a quarterback throwing for 300 yards in Calgary. The last guy to do it was Crandall, but that was back in 2002 until this afternoon. So that can be a confidence builder in itself, but he's got to finish.
Penalty against the Tiger Cats. And the Stampeders get half the distance to the goal line. So first down and goal to go from the 3.
And that's a crucial penalty because
now it goes back the other way. They'll march it right back.
It's a time count violation on John Jenkins and Marcus Crandall, and it really takes the run option. Not that with John Jenkins that's much of an option the best of times, but it takes the run option really away from Calgary. Now they're throwing the ball for sure in at least 2 tries.
It is a first down for the Stampeders, back at the 8-yard line now. They were at the 3 moments ago. Marcus Crandall spots an opening, and he'll get halfway home.
You know, I will give this to Marcus Crandall. When he does decide to run the football, boy, he is taking hits. He is not hook sliding, and he did everything in his power to get to the end zone. Watch how he buries his head. The guy who's going to end up making the tackle is going to be Donovan Carter with great hustle from the outside. But here he comes. But look at Crandall's determination. He's going to lower his shoulder and take a big hit from a big hitting linebacker in Donovan Carter. Now they do have the run option.
Down to the 2-yard line now. The Stampeders have been this close before in this quarter. They have 2 cracks at it from the 2. 2nd and goal to go. And Ike has the touchdown. Victor Ike celebrates his first touchdown in the CFL. And they went to the run option there.
Well, it's just defensively, you have to watch and play with your eyes if you're that close and have the run option available to you offensively. So the Hamilton defense couldn't just pin their ears back. They had to wait and see, and Ike finds that end zone with some second effort.
Bounced off Adriano Belli on that second effort to get to the end zone. He didn't make it in by much, but all of a sudden the Stampeders have battled back to within 1 of the Tiger Cats, and a chance for the tie coming on the convert attempt here.
But a determined run by Marcus Crandall set it up, and seen Marcus Crandall gain some confidence in this second half. And it really started in the second half of the second quarter, and that last drive of the second quarter when he got it down there on a big drive. So Crandall now has got some confidence back, and he showed it on that little run.
I think you're right, absolutely.
You know, the pass to Wayne McGarity, yes, but that little run there where he dropped his shoulder, took the hit from Donovan Carter, really sent a message. Probably helped him inside with a little confidence, but it sent a message to his teammates. It said, guys, I'm willing to throw it on the line if you are. And Crandall did that. And the other thing is, and I know this for a fact, that's one that his head coach is going to love when they watch the tape, because that's the way his head coach played the game. Dropped the shoulder and hit a linebacker.
Yeah, he was really a linebacker playing quarterback when he played, Dunnigan, wasn't he?
Absolutely.
So for the tie, and the Stampeders have battled all the way back to get even with the Tiger Cats. At one point they were down 25-0. CFL Live from McMahon in Calgary. It's all even 31-31, 20 seconds to go third quarter. Some numbers that are interesting. 56-6 the points scored with the win in this game today.
Turned around in a hurry with a big play from Scott Coe. You know, to start this game, the Stampeders were on life support offensively and asleep defensively until this. Scott Coe's interception ignited this defense. They started playing better and started stopping Danny McManus, including twice in the red zone.
The red zone? The red zone?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to do that either.
Coe's coconut. It's an interesting shade, and the Stampeders are at 31-31 with the Tiger Cats. Craig Yeast, nice return to get Hamilton back in good field position. Jeremy Pearl to make the tackle after a 31-yard return. McManus had a hot start. Threw a touchdown pass the second time he had his hands on the ball. But it's been a struggle against the win.
80% out of the gate with 2 touchdowns. Then dropped to 4 and 14, and he's had 2 balls just slip out of his hands down in his own end zone.
And had to fall on one in the end zone and surrender a couple of points. But the other one was close to a turnover inside the 5-yard line. So let's see what McManus can do here. 1st and 10, Tiger Cats. Breedlove. And that's the first catch for Demetrius Breedlove. Nate Terry over to make the tackle on the final play of the 3rd quarter. We've got a finish. I didn't think we'd have one.
Well,
what about
got
you?
one now.
31-31. Lots to go.
Tied up after in a 25-point hole. Glenn Suter was saying they haven't had a 300-yard passing performance by any quarterback in Calgary for a while. Crandall was the last to do it, November 2002, so it's been a while.
What we love to see with Marcus Crandall, any quarterback really, is improvement. And last week we're going to show you a play here against Montreal. Here's the all-out blitz. Here's the guy coming off the edge, Dwayne Butler. And watch how Marcus Crandall makes a fatal error of, as he half rolls to his right, he plants his feet thinking he's got time to make this throw. He does not. He learns from this mistake, and now we go to the 3rd quarter of this football game. And here comes the free man, Joe Montford, off the edge this time. And Marcus Crandall says, you know what? I learned last week not to do that. Keep fading, keep working away. And that's the difference as he gets the ball down to McGarity. Love to see quarterbacks learn from their mistakes, Schultze.
You know, Jock, our sideline reporter asked Matt Dunnigan, what did you say to the quarterback, Marcus Crandall? And he said, look, I'm patting him on the back, said, go out there, do your job. Everything was positive. You don't break down players at halftime during a game. You do it in the film analysis the next day. Credit Matt for being a quarterback, understanding the psychology. I think that's one of the big reasons Crandall played with more confidence in that 3rd quarter.
Over the last 4 seasons, the Stampeders have trailed at the half 34 times. They've come back to win just twice. We'll see if they can finish.
Have come back all the way to get even with Greg Marshall's Hamilton Tiger Cats. 2 old teammates head-to-head.
Oh,
2 rookie coaches locking horns in their first contest against each other in Canadian football. Couple of rookies on the sidelines, and they don't look like rookies as coaches out there, do they?
No, very determined, very intense from both of them.
Tiger Cats 2nd down to begin the 4th quarter. Archie Emerson has the catch. He has the 1st down out across midfield.
Really been amazing. The biggest difference, I think, between the 2 halves has been the field position. Calgary had it in that 3rd quarter. 9 first downs for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, all of them in the 1st half. 0 first downs for Hamilton in the 3rd quarter, and that is completely switched over with Calgary. Remember, after the 1st quarter, zeros down the right column of that stat sheet. Not zeros anymore.
5 straight 2-and-outs for the Stampeders to begin this game. But they are even now. This is a Hamilton 1st down just inside Stampeder territory. And Breedlove has another catch.
Well, you just think of how big of a comeback this is. Danny McManus, the way he started this game. I mean, let's take you back to the 1st half and show you how this thing got underway.
2nd play of the game. Touchdown.
Archie Emerson reaches for one. This is Mike Morreale over the middle. He gets in the end zone.
And then a 45-yarder here.
DJ flick, and before you know it, at the flick of a wrist, you're Danny McManus up 25-0. Guess what? Calgary's come galloping back.
Did you write that yourself? Galloping back, these Stampeders. Craig Yeast. John Grace has him.
But now Danny McManus, it looks like he's tuned it back in again. Now he has the wind at his back, and he started with better field position. Remember, in that 3rd quarter, McManus was on his own goal line basically the entire time. McManus over 300 yards once again. He's doing his thing.
McManus 476 in his 1st game this year, a win. 525 in his 2nd. He's over 300 here this afternoon. The Ticats throw to win, but they're in a tussle here. Troy Davis. Antoine Young was there to make the tackle.
Just throw one of those running plays in, just in case, you know, because you printed up all the running plays in the playbooks. You want to throw one in every now and then. Jamie Barisi.
Yeah, what the interesting number was to me coming into this game is between these 2 teams in 4 games, they had not rushed for 100 yards total.
Yeah.
Right? In the first 4 games, these 2 teams had not hit the century mark. McManus on second down has time, has a target. It'll be a first down. Yeast has it at the 15.
That's a good catch by Yeast because McManus has to throw it there away from the defender, who is Joey Bosse on the play. Bosse's playing inside on the zone, and Craig Yeast finds an open area. See, Craig Yeast's going to work here. Joey Bosse's going to run, and then the throw has to come to the outside. Here comes Yeast. He drops in. And Bosse's closing outside. You see, Bosse was closing from the top side of that play. So Danny McManus threw it to Craig Yeast's left-hand side, and Yeast made the adjustment.
On the verge of 100 yards receiving on the afternoon, Craig Yeast. This will be a touchdown. Tiger Cats Breedlove into the end zone.
It was close, but they ruled it that he got in before he fumbled the football, that the football broke the plane.
He has to have the ball in his hands when he crosses the goal line.
Remember,
and he broke the plane with the ball in his possession.
John, remember, let's take a look right here. Does he have control? The ball crossed the plane. It looked like he was shuffling it a little bit from the bottom part of his stomach.
But he was taking steps with the football, and he had possession going across.
They just showed the replay.
Fans hate it. Yeah.
They showed the replay up on the clock here in McMahon Stadium, and the fans hate it. They don't think he had possession when he fumbled.
Well, they had something to cheer about. Now something to boo about. The Stampede has 3 in the second half, including 1 in the fourth quarter for that 15-yard touchdown.
Yeah, his biggest. And I think the officials got it right. The fans hated it here. I believe they got it right. And it was a tough call to make. So kudos to the officials on that one. They made a nice call.
So here's the Tiger Cats kickoff. And here's the Stampeders return. It's McGarity. It's still McGarity.
86.
Nice return out at the 45. Good position for the Stampeders to begin.
Let's go back to the touchdown one more time and take a look at it. First of all, Danny McManus sees that Breedlove had inside position on Nate Terry. That's why the throw is there. Now let's take another look. He has control. Now here's the key. Regular speed, McManus. Now he has control there and doesn't lose it before the ball crosses the plane.
And he had the football in his hands at the 5-yard line.
Yeah, the question is, if he was juggling the entire time, that he never really had control on the catch, but he had caught the ball, had control, and had not fumbled the ball before it crossed the goal line. So therefore, a good call by the officials. Touchdown for Breedlove as they come bouncing back after it's been all Calgary in the third quarter.
Demetrius Breedlove has given the Ticats a 30 over 300 yards passing again, 4 touchdowns. The 1 interception went for 7 the other way. 18 of 30, 332 for Danny McManus so far. And there's a long way to go. 11:01 to play fourth quarter.
Well, really, this football team offensively, the Ticats have only played 1 poor quarter, and that was the 3rd one in this game all season. But they came back in this 4th. In the first series, McManus took control once more. 4 or 5 quick passes, and Breedlove finishes it off with a nice catch for a touchdown.
Quite a difference for Danny McManus from this year, and looking back to last year where he threw 9 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. It has been a remarkable recovery.
I changed a few things up. I think I told Glenn last week I cut down on the beers a little bit. So and just doing some different type of training that our trainer Chris Puskas has got me doing. But I think the biggest thing is just being around the guys through the off season, doing some core workouts with the receivers, understanding what I'm seeing, understanding what they're seeing, and just trying to get them on the same page as me.
You know, he did mention that to me, that cut down on the beer, which is why I would never make a comeback. But Danny McManus...
No one has asked you to make one.
Yeah, that's a very good point that you make. You know, Danny McManus, he says he weighs about the same, but the weight is distributed differently. He always has an interesting way of talking about getting himself back in shape.
He's moved it around a little bit.
Yeah.
He does look fitter, though. There's no question about that. Crandall has Juhas on first down Calgary. And Mark Spencer had him wrapped up.
Well, and you know, now we'll see if that confidence-building quarter, which was the very end of the second and then all of the third, if basically the third quarter of confidence building for Marcus Crandall pays off now. Because now he needs a response. He needs to come up and respond to Danny McManus's great drive to start this 4th.
Juhasz picked up 4. 2nd and 6 for the Stampeders, down by a touchdown to these Tiger Cats. Sideline toss. He laid out for it, but Connell couldn't bring it in. That was close to a very nice connection.
Well, it was. Donovan Carter had traveled a long way, and Connell stays down. Hurt at the end. It's one-on-one here on Rodney Heath on the outside, who's in pretty good position. But look at number 2, linebacker Donovan Carter, all the way over there to help out. And he's the guy who lands on Connell at the end of the play. Hopefully for the Calgary Stampeders and Albert Connell, he's just got the wind knocked out of him.
McGarity went down a couple of plays. He's up and off under his own power. 7 of 16. 7 catches, 116 yards, and the key touchdown for Calgary. Whoa. Nice snap. Brings it down. Nice play to get the kick away for Charlie Hebert.
Oh, John.
Just
that
a
was
brilliant play.
Outstanding play from Charlie Hebert. Wow. That saved a huge loss. That play by the Calgary Stampeders, Charlie Hebert, may have just saved a chance for the Stamps in this game. That one-handed catch saved a huge loss.
Troy Davis and maybe a half a yard. Brian Clark was there and waiting. So a touchdown separating the Tiger Cats and the Stampeders with 9:16 to go. Nice sequence here for the Calgary defense if they can get the ball back in a hurry.
Well, the key here will now be pressure on Danny McManus. When he's had time to throw, he has picked apart this Calgary defensive backfield.
Demetrius Breedlove has the go-ahead touchdown. Morreale has a catch for a first down, and there's a penalty flag down near the 40-yard line.
See what the call is. Great positioning for Mike Morreale. I mean, the Calgary Stampeders decided to go with the 3-man rush. This play is going to come back. That's the way Mike Morreale is walking.
Holding. Hamilton, number 69. 2nd down, repeater.
Jonta Woodard, he gets a holding call when Calgary sends 3 on the rush. They dropped back everybody else. 9 in coverage, 3-man rush, and you got a holding call. Joe Fleming is the guy involved. Fleming comes off the edge here. 3-man rush. There's the holding call.
So second and a huge amount necessary for McManus here. He throws under the cover. Breedlove can't make the catch. Stampeders will get it back.
Danny Crehan has changed things up for Calgary. They started the game in the first half going with lots of pressure from the linebacking core. Now what he's done is switched it up and gone with the 3-man rush, especially in 2nd and long like Danny McManus was facing. 3-man rush, 9 in the coverage, and force McManus to try and throw it underneath and then come up and make the tackle.
McGarity is up and okay on the field, ready to accept this 3rd down punt from Jason Curry. Curry back at the 5. Big charge was on. Not a deep kick. Stampeders will have good field position. With the penalty marker going down, they'll add a couple of extra yards to a 41-yard punt. So here the Stampeders set up right at midfield. McGarity is now on the sideline. So the Stampeders are adjusting on offense. Crandall has Ike sliding out of the backfield. And he's got 8, maybe 9 yards. Jason Lamar got him from behind.
Well, McGarity came back on, Wayne McGarity, for that punt return, and then went off on the sideline. And Albert Connell looked like he was going to be back, but hasn't gone back in the game. So Marcus Crandall now has to work with a couple of backouts out there. Denny Montana moves to the wide out position. Celicio Samford will play in at the slot back spot.
And Ray Thomas goes in.
You know, and that involves the running game a little bit more, and we may see a little more of Victor Ike by default just because Crandall lost 2 of his weapons.
John Jenkins, the offensive coordinator. And there's an injured Tiger Cat down near the 30-yard line. So that calls for timeouts here at McMahon. Ticats are now short a starter, at least for a play or two. Donovan Carter heads to the sidelines. Stampeders look at 2nd and 2. And there's early movement there. Ticats definitely moved early.
Donovan Carter left the game for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And they've had to bring in Franz Clarkson. He comes into the game to make a couple of changes. He grabbed his hamstring, the back of his leg somewhere in there.
We'll check out the penalty infraction with 7:18 to go. It is the Tiger Cats by a touchdown on the Stampeders.
Offside. Hamilton 78. Decline. First down.
So we may see more running just because Franz Clarkson, who is a backup defensive back, is now being asked to play linebacker for Donovan Carter.
Bit of an adjustment there on first down. Crandall got it away, and he's got a strike. Celicio Sanford makes the catch, and the Stampeders continue this drive.
Big smile from Marcus Crandall because his receiver made a big play for him. Celicio Sanford over the middle with a nice catch. What they did is blitzed Franz Clarkson from the linebacking spot, feeling like, why leave him as a linebacker? If we're going to send him, might as well send him on a blitz. Marcus Crandall recognized it, hit Sanford over the middle.
Yeah, and a clutch catch for Sanford, who coming into the game had only 1 reception for 20 yards. Stampeders making adjustments with injuries out there to key receivers. Enough for a first down. Swing pass this time out of the backfield. Nicholas Lewis has the catch there. Marcus Spencer with the tackle. Well, what a terrific day at Euro 2004, the soccer final. Portugal versus Greece. And I'm not going to mention the score right now just in case you want to sit back and relax and watch this one. But we can tell you it was a thrilling finish to Euro 2004.
Different form of football coming up after football.
So we'll get to that when we're done here. Crandall pumps once, looks to the end zone. Juhas was the intended receiver, and the coverage a little too tight, and the throw a little too long.
Well, yeah, and that was the coverage that really Marcus Crandall had no choice, but Renard Cox, who's put together a good game in that secondary, was step for step with Mike Juhas down the field, and that was one of those plays that Crandall just had to say, well, I'll throw it up to the outside, and if Juhas makes the circus catch, okay, if not, it's incomplete.
So the Stampeders need 2 scores to win this. They'll settle for the field goal attempt here. And Hebert has another one. So Calgary climbs within 4. It's 38-34 on Wendy's CFL Live. Well, let's get you caught up.
4 touchdown passes, 11 in the first 3 games for Danny Mack. This game's not over. Who knows? Stampeders, big comeback to get now within 4 points after that field goal by Hebert.
And Marcus Crandall slow starts, but he's over 300 yards passing, so he has redeemed himself and still has the opportunity to come away with a win for his head coach, Matt Dunnigan, who has faith in his starting quarterback. And there was a time in this game this afternoon that it looked like Crandall might not be able to finish after a slow start, but he got it together, and he got the Stampeders back to even with the Tiger Cats a few moments ago. Now it's Calgary down by 4. Craig Yeast returning for the Tiger Cats. Across the 30 and thrown to the turf at the 34-yard line. Andre Arlane leading the tacklers there. 19 on the return after a 60-yard kickoff. So Danny McManus has an opportunity to win this one for the Tiger Cats. 18 of 31, 332 yards, the 4 touchdowns as mentioned. 5:24 to go. And McManus holds the 4-point lead, but I'm thinking 4 won't be enough.
No, No,
he has an advantage in this game to finish it off.
At the very least, he's thinking to answer that field goal and get it back to the 7-point deficit.
Little enthusiasm in the stands. Morreale the catch. And an extra yard or two after that. Joey Bosse puts the final stop on Mike Morreale with a touchdown here this afternoon.
Boy, and right at the end of that play, George White, almost by himself, I think, just went down and grabbed his left knee. Both teams having to battle through some injury problems late in this game. Albert Connell was banged up. Wayne McGarity offensively for Calgary. Donovan Carter defensively for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And now George White will have to leave for 3 plays.
I mentioned this afternoon, and we did begin this game in the afternoon Calgary time at 4 o'clock Mountain time. But we've now moved into evening in Calgary and fairly well into evening in the Eastern time zone where it's 9 o'clock. McManus has Morreale, and that'll be enough for a first down. Back-to-back for Mike Morreale, clutch catches, and that's what he's done for Danny McManus so far in 2004.
Another one of the big comeback stories, and he's helped Danny McManus start off as good a season as he's ever had. When you look at his career, 8 times over 4,000 yards, and he is off to a tremendous start. The pace for this, I think Dave Randorf said at the beginning of the game, the pace for his season over 9,000 yards or something.
That would be a milestone worth remembering.
I guess.
No catch this time. Craig Yeast went down and couldn't squeeze it.
But there you have the numbers with some football to be played here yet tonight.
Now you've officially switched us into nighttime, and I do appreciate that.
Yeah, I just made the transition.
Very smooth.
But it's been kind of like night all day long in Calgary. It's like
a cloudy day.
A beautiful October afternoon here.
And 9 degrees when we began. I think it's warmed up a little bit, but 2nd and 10. Tiger Cats. Huge play for McManus. Grace had his hands on it. Nope.
I think Morreale caught the ball.
Grace had his hands on it, and it squirted into Morreale's hands. When you're hot, you're hot. 3 in a row for Morreale.
Wow, when you're in a split second, the fans here at McMahon Stadium went from absolute excitement thinking John Grace had an interception to complete disappointment when Morreale ended up with the ball in his hands.
And a 13-yard gain on a critical situation for the Tiger Cats. That was 2nd and 10.
See, John Grace had it, dropped it. Wes Lysak thought that he had it and gave up on it.
4 yards.
Number 32, Troy Davis.
John Grace was there.
Wow, that's amazing. You know, talk about the game of inches and split seconds making a difference, and John Grace has this one all wrapped up. The fans are going, yeah, we got to touch it. Whoa, oh, they got it first.
And it trickled right into Morreale's hands.
Wow.
3 minutes to go. Looks deep and was a little too far, but a flag goes down on the coverage near side.
Well, 2 things. One, I thought Craig Yeast was almost offside on the play. I mean, he looked very close to being well past that yard neutral zone. And then there was no flag there. When he went down the seam, he was definitely grabbed across the shoulder pads.
Calgary number 23.
Joey Bosse definitely put his hands on the back of Craig Yeast. But boy, he had such a big run at it. I thought he might have been at least a yard offside on the play. No call there. A definite call in the defensive backfield. Bosse did grab his jersey. Crehan doesn't like it.
So it's a 17-yard gain for the Tiger Cats with the penalty. Hamilton definitely in field goal range here. First down. McManus, Morreale, not this time.
Well, that time Joey Bosse
got...
yeah, what he did is he reached underneath and just poked that football out as it arrived. Better timing for Joey Bosse that time on Mike Morreale down the seam.
It's the Tiger Cats by 4 at 38-34. A field goal makes it a 1-touchdown game, and a little more difficult for the Stampeders to come back. Up to the Calgary defense here and now to keep the Tiger Cats out of the end zone. Huge play for the Calgary defense. And McManus missed his target in the corner far side.
DJ Flick tried to get outside of William Fields and kind of stumbled along that sideline. Fields was in coverage. DJ Flick, the intended receiver, there he is outside. Now he's going to come up and then try and kind of wiggle down the sideline here. And watch how he stumbles a little bit as he tries to get out. Here he comes outside. Now little contact there, no big deal. Stumbles a bit and now can't run under that pass. He kind of looks to the official, but I don't think so.
Nicholas Lewis is in the end zone. Jamie Borum, who has had a terrific debut as a Tiger Cat field goal kicker, looks to put another one through and restore a 1-touchdown advantage for the Tiger Cats. It's 41-34, 2:28 on the clock here at McMahon. We're in for a great finish, yes. So here we are in the stretch run, 2:28 on the clock. It is the Stampeders down by a touchdown. Marcus Crandall stands in on first down. This will work. Victor Ike is out to the 50, and that'll be plenty for a first down for the Stampeders to keep this drive rolling along. The faces of football on TSN. A great game this afternoon.
John, and you want to be in this position if you're Marcus Crandall. You want to have the football in your hands with a chance to bring your team back and at least tie the game and push it to overtime. He's got plenty of time on the clock. See what he can do with it.
Crandall looking deep. He's got a target. Chance for the touchdown. Sanford down to the 10-yard line. And the Stampeders are still alive to tie this up. Twomby settles over to make the tackle. 2:03 to go. Plenty of time.
Tremendous throw from Marcus Crandall because he's on his back foot. See how he leans back? The pressure is right in his face, and somehow he strong arms that to Celicio Sanford.
Sanford is getting a look as a receiver with two of the Stampeders' best targets on the sidelines. McGarity is out. And now they're both in, McGarity and Connell, in for this sequence. "49-yard gain. Here's Crandall looking for the touchdown. Juha's the target, not this time. No penalty markers anywhere.
Jamane Battle climbed out. He never, ever quit on the play. Mike Juhas had him. He had him on the corner, but the rookie wouldn't stop. See how he's got separation, 19 on 28. Juhas has separation. He has a chance, but Battle wouldn't quit, and he didn't give Mike Juhas a chance to settle in under that football.
It just slipped through his fingers. And Crandall is over 400 yards. No question about it. It's a quarterback's game in a receivers league. When you look at the stats being put up by the quarterbacks and the receivers so far in 2004. Minute 40 to go. This is 2nd and 10 Stampeders. Another touchdown toss. And it's intercepted in the end zone. Shaw goes down with the football in his hands.
Well, this time Crandall went right back to the well, and he went there one too many times. He went to the same pattern. Wayne Shaw said, you can do it once. Mike Juhas didn't come up with a catch for you, but you're not going to do it again. Crandall's going to roll a little bit to his right. Now he's got the corner called in the exact same pattern he just ran to Mike Juhas. This time he had Sanford on it, and this time Wayne Shaw said, you know what, I've seen this pitcher before. This time I'm going to just slide underneath and change the ending.
Wayne Shaw's second interception on the season. And it may end right there. The comeback hope of Matt Dunnigan and the Calgary Stampeders. 1:32 on the clock. But the Ticats have the football and a 7-point advantage. Been a terrific showdown between two former teammates, 2 rookie coaches in Canadian football. Dunnigan versus Marshall here this afternoon and into the evening. Ticats keep it on the ground.
Well, and there's still time, but it all depends on what the Hamilton offense can do. Matt Dunnigan needs a stop from his defense, and Greg Marshall needs probably 2 first downs to finish this game. And that's what it breaks down to. So Dunnigan, who had control to at least tie the game with the ball in his hands, in his quarterback's hands before the interception, has now passed it over to the other rookie head coach and said, okay, now you have it. I got to rely on my defense.
But now it's up to this Stampeder defense. Huge play again for the Tiger Cats and the Stampeders, and 2nd down and 2.
Good power from Radlin.
Radlin is the ball carrier, and we'll see where they spot the ball. The indication has not been made.
And Julian Radlin just powered off that left side, and Calgary knew they wanted to run, had the backs up tight to the line of scrimmage. It wasn't a matter of if they were going to run it, just who was going to get the football.
And it is a 1st down for the Tiger Cats and Greg Marshall.
Well, that's one. And one more should probably do it.
Less than a minute to go, 51 seconds on the stadium clock. Davis.
32, Troy Davis.
And he's got a couple that's all available to him. So one critical play.
And Calgary cannot stop the clock with the timeout. They've used it in this 2nd half. So Danny McManus with a 1st down here can kill the last 40 seconds, 38 seconds and counting.
This is 2nd down. Ticats at the 37. And it's Davis again. 23 seconds to go.
Well, there's 2 schools of thought here now for Greg Marshall has to punt the football. There's two schools of thought for Matt Dunnigan, the Calgary Stampeders, and Trey Junkins, the special teams coordinator. Do you load him up on the line of scrimmage and go for the block, or do you try and set up a return with Wayne McGarity back there? That's what Trey Junkins now has to figure out and go with his head coach. We'll see what they decide to do. Now they've got just McGarity back as a returner, which would indicate you got 11 on the line. Maybe they're going to go after it and try and block it, because after the return, you're going to see very little time for the Calgary Stampeders.
Now McManus is still out on the field.
Well, they're going to take a time count violation, let the clock run down as far as they can.
Down to 3 seconds now, so you need the return, you need it all the way, and you need the touchdown to tie.
Yeah, and it's almost a point you might as well bring Wayne McGarity up there and see if you can't block it, because you may have a better chance to block it and come up with a big play from your special teams up front than you are to return the ball some 80 yards for a touchdown on what will be the last play of the game. Barring penalty.
3 seconds on the clock. It's the Ticats 41, the Stampeders 34.
And Danny McManus is going to just drop back and try and kill it on his own. And this is a pretty good call for Greg Marshall as well. That eliminates
the third option that they really have. Well, McManus isn't going to run around back there, but
well, he's got to kill 3 seconds.
Well, they put 4 on now, so I don't know what that.
Well, because if they can get him down before time expires.
McManus looking to throw it long, and there's zeros on the clock.
That's all he had to do was kill those 4 seconds.
Kill that 4 seconds, but they actually added another tick to the clock. 3 seconds were up there, and they added 1 more at the very last moment.
Because if they get McManus down there, they have 1 crack at the end zone, and they can throw it that far.
How about this story? The Hamilton Tiger Cats are in first place in a tie with Montreal in the CFL East after 3 straight victories. Dunnigan comes close in Calgary.